Hello everyone, Connor here. Just as a small disclaimer, some things we may talk about on the pod shouldn't be attempted or recreated. Remember to keep everything legal, keep it between the hedges, and don't tear up the ground while you're on the pull. I am so lonely. No. I'm lonely. No, what is it? What is it? Oh, that's why it was lonely. Oh fuck, I can't sing with the shade, but lonely. I am so lonely. I haven't clearly got nobody. I'm obviously on my own. Oh. Fuck, if he hears this, he'll be like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm not lonely anymore. Huh? Did you hear any of that?
No.
That's good.
I just didn't want to start the podcast with you in the phone.
I always start the podcast.
Sorry, not you in the phone, me in the phone.
Oh, you didn't want to start with me in the phone, did you not? Whilst you're in the phone. Oh, alright, is this the way it is? Right, suppose that's a segue if ever there's anything into it. Hello everyone. What's crack with you? You're listening to the Agri Automotive Podcast by Limited Step Differences, as per usual. Where we chat all things, sometimes about cars, sometimes about cows, sometimes about shite in between.
Literal shite, slurry, at times.
Coming out of Michael's wee Coke can.
That's right. Do you know what? See the way you said you're listening? It sounded like I seen a TikTok earlier on the day of someone like mocking like a Culchie buying a Reiki Mark IV off of like just how Culchies would exchange, and it's like your man and he goes, "It's your Reiki lad. What's she like? Is she lowered?" The way you just said you're listening, it just made me think of that exact video. I think it was Park McLear or something because it's fucking hilarious. So I'm laughing on it.
Well, if they haven't worked in my Culture by now, fair play to you.
Also, what do you think of my t-shirt?
It's lovely. Very Culture-esque, you know.
The Red Diesel service station. I had this given to me by...
We do not think you should be buying Red Diesel from the pump.
But it's fucking hilarious.
Whether for a tractor or a car, but it's a lovely t-shirt.
But it's funny. So, Visual Antics...
You did buy Red Diesel from a pump, didn't you, once?
Did tonight.
For the tractor?
Yeah. I don't have a diesel tank.
How fucking dear was that?
$1.15. I know, but I do need to get some.
$1.15?
Yeah.
How many litres do you put in?
40.
Doesn't really sound that bad then.
No.
How long would that do you?
Depends. Like, could do 4 months. Like,
big operator lad. But to be fair, just in case you haven't got on by now, which you maybe haven't, I'm Connor and...
Oh, I'm Michael, yeah. But anyway, back to the t-shirt. So
this prick I've been calling Michael is called Michael.
So Seamus from Visual Antics
and today we're on episode 35.
Oh, aye. Right, well, we just roll a lot of that back. Well, where are we going with?
No, just go with it.
Alright, okay. So, yeah, before because I just started to go off on a rambler about my t-shirt. We didn't even say what episode of the podcast we were on. We didn't even say who we were.
Yeah, I've said it now. Like,
yeah, I know we have, but that was a fault. Anyway, Seamus from Visual Antics got in contact with me and said, "Here, lad, I've been listening to your podcast." He says he does a bit of work for some of the other comedians, like in the NI comedy scene. So for him to then come to me and go, "Oh, I've been listening to your podcast," I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Very heartwarming. So it was. It was nice. It was nice.
Aye. So he was like, "Look, we actually done up drawings for a Red Diesel service station. Think one night for like shits and giggles. We thought it'd be funny." And he was like, "We're thinking of putting on a t-shirt." And I was like, "Oh, like that sounds hilarious." He goes, "I'll send you over one." And I was like, "Well, like, you know, how much?" He goes, No. He goes, "Just wear it in the pod." And I was like, "Fuck, no bother, lad."
Deadly.
So, yeah, I have this. And I'm going to wear this because it's fucking hilarious.
To be fair, if I'm giving away a review on you, I don't normally look at you in this light, but anyway. No, nice t-shirt, nice fitting.
Like I should be wearing like the LSD one realistically, but I did tell I've had this sitting for ages.
Michael's now going to explain in 3 minutes why he's not wearing his own t-shirt, but I'm just going to cut it for him. He he thinks it's a nice t-shirt, and you should hit him up if you have any designs or you want to get something designed.
Yeah, Visual Antics Apparel on Instagram. So anything new with you? Well, by the way, it's just us this week. We've no guest.
I'd like to think that folk have noticed that. If you're watching YouTube, you definitely have. If you're not watching the YouTube,
I know, but like, it's
then
been
you just hear the two of us. There's nobody else rambling or giving Michael crap about his Coke can.
It's been
his Coke can is this new slurry taker.
Yeah, we've done last 5 have all been guests.
Does it feel weird to talk to me again?
Do you know what?
You're taking a while to say it.
I had sort of said like this year. I think I said this before. Is I'd really like to do guest because guests obviously bring a dynamic and it makes it a lot easier for me and you, as we don't have to think about a main topic. Plus everyone we bring on, like they're all good crack because you kind of have them already vetted beforehand. Like there's no one we've brought on that hasn't been good. Like, quite simply, everybody we've had on, yes, we've had more informative, maybe like for instance Andrew Wright with Farm Theory. Like that was more an informative one, but it was still a really good conversation. Well,
it's nice whenever the podcasts are finished and you're finished recording, and normally they do go on recording for about 2.5 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Obviously there's edits and all that
one
done.
With Emmett, I think, or well, between Emmett and Tasty and Gobshite have been the 2 longest.
And as I like to finish, you always have, I don't know, it's like you have quite an in-depth conversation with somebody and you get to know a bit about them and they share quite a lot of stuff with you.
Yeah.
And you after it, you're like fucking feel like I know this couple of years.
Yeah, because you get proper
this
good.
Man this year.
Like you get like even like. Yeah, like even like after anyone's here, everyone tends to stand and yarn for another while, like, and it tends to be good old crack, like.
Emmett's. He arrived here about just after 7.
Yeah, something like that. Sure, I was running about like a blue arse fly trying to get everything.
True, yes. And then Emmett left about 12.
Or after it.
So I didn't get home till after 1.
Yeah. Because we did.
Like if we started recording at a sensible hour, you'd waste a day.
100% easily, and we neither. The thing is, me or you don't have that time to waste.
No, unfortunately,
because either you would need to be home for milking, so which would mean we'd need to start at like 12 o'clock.
And then you can't be wasting 12 to 5 doing this.
No, because that's when if it's a Saturday, like before 12 is when everywhere's open, and after 12 is when you're fitting the stuff you've bought that day.
Or if you're me, you're just working.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Shifting cattle at this time of the year, looking at cattle, watching cattle.
Dreaming of cattle.
Huh?
Dreaming of cattle.
I tend not to, but some people do. You can only look at cows for so long, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, I will share what is new with me. I actually fucking wrote something down for a change.
Seriously? Jesus Christ.
Yes. My post-middle of May resolution.
It's very niche, but go on.
That's why I said it.
Go take a big slurp of my monster here. You're free to talk.
I'm not saying I'm not. So the biggest. Really? Oh fuck. Just felt that coming on. Anyway. So biggest agricultural show in the north.
The Balmoral.
Was it not Balmoral show you called it?
No, Balmoral.
Aye.
No.
The Balmoral show.
The Balmoral, yeah.
It was on there.
You've given me that much of a hard time about saying it wrongly. I've now started trying to say it right.
Other than me said that you say it wrongly?
I did Emmett not give me a bit of a touch on it too?
I don't know, can't mind. But anyway, long story short,
pretty sure Andrew Morton and Owen Smith give me a touch on it as well, and Connor Kelly.
He gives you a touch on everything.
Yeah, that's true.
But so it was on there. So we're now recording on a Sunday night. Balmoral last day was yesterday.
Yes,
it never started got up to it this year. On Wednesday. I got up for a couple of hours on Thursday morning.
Do you take out a mortgage to get in?
That I will say one thing, right? See if you aren't actually, if you don't have tickets, right, and you're just the general public, it's a dear day out.
Yeah, you'd need to be there.
It took myself and the old boy and the uncle went. And between that and park, and it nearly 80 quid to get in. That's dear, like.
That's unreal.
You know, now, don't get me wrong, if you're going there for 9 and you're there to 5 and you have loads of stuff you want to see, or you have a list of stuff or whatever you have to do, fair enough. Or, like, you've no real clue about farming, but you've seen Jeremy Clarkson, which is another thing I actually talk about. You've seen Clarkson's farm, give you a bit of an appetite to go and actually see some livestock and sheep and goats and the whole shebang. Aye, fair enough, for once a year. But see, whenever you could go to open days, Spring Farm Machinery Show, go to the Winter Fair, go to the beef show at Christmas time and that, like, it's dear.
Does that, see that pass you get, is that just one day, or could you go, say you went on the Wednesday?
No, only
could
one day.
Fucking hell.
So
like,
I think you can probably buy passes to go on multiple days.
Aye, but like how much would that cost?
Fuck knows.
Jesus Christ.
Like exhibitors obviously would have that pass.
Okay,
people
yeah.
showing cattle and all that
surely,
kind of.
yeah.
But
what'd you think of it?
Look, it is a very good show.
Okay.
So I get the appeal for like the young farmer. Great crack in the beer tents. You have the young farmer stuff going on. Obviously the ones in the horses, you have like the show jumping and all the different displays they have there. I suppose if you're big into your showing your cattle, it's probably it is the big one to win really in the north.
Oh, why?
Possibly, but at the end of the day, in the terms of showing cattle, don't know if
it's not something I know enough about, Connor, to really advise you.
No, I'm not asking for your advice. I'm just saying that in the show calendar, I don't know if it is the big one, because the only way in cars, Dubshed is the big one,
which coincidentally is also at the same place.
Yes. So not sure if it's the big one, but I've always heard that if you win Balmoral, you're doing well. So there's basically some suppose for everybody, and you've also the beer tent. I don't know if I mentioned that or not.
Yeah, you did.
I did, fair enough, right? So no, I was only in a couple of hours. Few things.
The beer tent or the show itself?
I've never actually been to the beer tent in Balmoral.
I don't think I have either.
I've been to the beer tent in the Ploughing. The time I went down with you and Sean.
Oh, aye.
I had 1 pint. Pure mad.
You mad bastard.
Yes. No, it's a great show. Like,
anything stand out for you at all? For you or for anything you think that the listeners would particularly?
It's nothing that, if you've spoke to any farmer in the past 3 years, that they haven't said already, and that is just the price of machinery is
astronomical.
Mad.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, realistically, if you're a dairy farmer and you're doing well, or you're a beef farmer and you're doing well, send cattle away, you have big numbers, you're fit to make decent money. If you go and buy something now new straight, you're literally working to pay a machine off. Nothing else. You know, you go to buy anything at all, and it's astronomical money.
Yeah, like I'm a big believer in making older stuff work.
You know, don't get me wrong, some things are probably making sense. Like, you always hear the tagline now, if you bought a tractor 3, 4, 5 years ago, it's worth X amount of money, hasn't lost a penny. Yes, but what you're changing up to, it wouldn't matter if your tractor
£25,000 more
was 70 grand new, and it's now worth 35, 40, and the new one was still worth 70 grand. What's the difference in that?
Yeah, and or your tractor was worth 70 grand, it's still worth 60, but a new one's 90.
Well, that's it. There's no changing, really. And none of the machinery is really changing. Like, we looked at the new version of the telehandler, and to say there's no change would not be an understatement. Literally nothing. I think the exhaust housing's slightly different, but I would say they've probably just changed that for, I don't know.
There's probably something to do with emissions.
Not even. There's still no difference at all. Like, but no, like, again, it's a good show, but I'm sure them salesmen were dealing with a lot of tire kickers.
Fuck me, you think of them and the tire kickers there. Well, like here, I was a serious tire kicker at the KGM stand there back in January. Sure, remember whenever we all went?
Yes.
Like I was inside the pickups and all. Like sure, that we talked about it in the podcast. Well, literally, we did an episode on pickups. Like, and I was all kind of like, at this point, I was kind of horned for it. I was like, this is class. Now, done a bit of research, done a few other things, didn't go down that route in the end. Seen a couple of them on the road. Sort of do wonder, you know, would you maybe miss a chance and miss a trick getting on board with them? But it's hard to know. Give it a few years.
True. What else is new with me? So I was at the show. Cattle have now been out. So don't know like what anybody thinks, but see the small things in life. Definitely the big things. So cattle are out in the ground. Yes, lovely to see them out in grass. But see whenever you're
What about that? John Deere? Most likely a John Deere.
whenever they're out in the grass and they're coming in to be milked, they're clean. Milking's a wee bit quicker.
Yeah.
They're coming in, milk yields are rising a bit.
Yeah.
It's all good that way. But a massive pain in the hole is see cattle crossing the road.
Aye.
Nobody has really any patience anymore.
No.
And
Definitely
I don't know
not.
what it is about heifers that we bought in 2 years ago, but they want to do anything but to go into the gate of the field. So there's that.
Mine, I can literally jump into the field with my cattle, and mine will swarm up to me, and they'll like, if I walked around my field, they will literally follow like dogs at my heel.
Aye,
like,
but you're feeding them meal every day.
No, I'm not. I haven't fed them meal now in a couple of months.
Aye, but over the winter,
I was feeding the meal, but what I'm saying is,
they're so used to you.
yes. So I went to shift them the other day, and same thing. Opened the gate, out they come onto the road. I was standing there shaking a bucket of meal at them, going, "Come on, come on, come on!" Looked at me as if at 5 heads, and then went and proceeded to go and eat the grass at the side of the road. And I was like, "What are you doing?" Like, as I said, them four will literally just follow me around the show, get them onto the road, and they just go, "Oh, I forgot who he is." And it's literally like, and this happens. Like, they'll walk around the field after me. I've had a couple of occasions where I've just went, like, "Oh, hey." They'll trust me, like it's no bother, like they're dead on, and you open the gate and they just go, pew, and it's like, oh fuck, and the next thing you're running up the road after them. I've had that on a few occasions, like, so I've just got to the stages, never trust an animal, no matter how dead on or how friendly or how used to what they have you think they are. Dairy cows me a wee bit different.
They're an animal at the end of the day.
Yeah, like like there's a reason why I have all the gates up around the yard. Like,
Aye. I could say it's something else that's new, but I'm sure you'll end up mentioning it. So when I knew you,
well, we'll move on to that after. But just before that, I got the Coke can. Sorry, the slurry tanker set up.
aye,
Jesus Christ. So, if you haven't already caught on by now, I'm not going to say I buy scrap. I buy scrap that works.
Right, I'm sorry. I know if maybe I found it the other day, but I did come out with a line today, and I think I just did sort of justify it in a wee bit.
Well, it worked.
Aye, but you did buy someone else's.
Yeah,
scrap.
100%. If you're buying some second hand or whatever out of an auction or whatever, you are buying someone else's trouble, quite simply. But for me, I'm a big fan. I couldn't remember the words, but basically, I have an engineering background. We would call it pilot testing, basically small scale. So if I buy a cheap tanker and I can make it work, I can say, right, I can justify having a tanker about the place, which means now I know, okay, in a few years' time, I could see myself going and getting something better or whatever. But for me, for now, I have cattle filling up a tank.
Aye.
And over the course of a year, I need to get that tank drained, because when I go to put more cattle in next time round, if I couldn't drain that tank, well, I would get to the middle of December and the slats would be overflowing, and I have no spare room. So for me, and I said before, same as a sprayer, like, I can't get someone to come out and spray an acre, and I can't always necessarily get like a friend's tanker. or Donald's tank or anything like that. It's just not possible. So for me, having a cheap and cheerful tanker that's maybe getting used 6 or 7 times a year,
Aye.
for me, at the money I got it for, even if it does have its niggles, it's still
Better than nothing.
Well, better than nothing. I'm better in my head than buying something that costs £5,000 or £6,000 to do the same thing.
Well, the argument there that I was trying to get across to you was, you could probably pick something up, because if you think about it, the amount of grants that's been out this last while, not for you,
No.
but the second-hand market is bound to be flooded with tankers, because
And they're all so expensive.
right?
Like a 16.
A 2,000 for us in 09 was 10 grand.
You'll pay for a 2,000 tanker now. You'll pay 5-6 grand.
Aye, but you don't need
Second-hand.
that. Obviously, a 1600 was the biggest you would ever need.
They're as dear to buy.
What?
Yeah, 1,600, 1,500 and 1,600s are. See, the 1,500. I seen a 1,500 come up the other day at relatively good money, but sure, when you're at 1,500 and 1,300, there's not really that much of a difference, all in the price tag. But see, a 1,600, they're big money, because the 1,600s all then started to have like the big wide tires on them, the big.
I will suppose them tyres alone are your
Whereas if
coke
I've
cans.
got the smaller tanker, it's less weight with the slightly
Well,
worse
the
tires.
broad tyres on a 1600, you could take anywhere.
Oh yeah, and whenever Donald had the 1,600, you could literally plant that thing anywhere.
Did
But-
he sell it?
Oh yeah, he had a 2050 after that.
Yes. And then he's another 2050.
Yeah, he has a Red Rock.
Does he sell the old one?
Yeah, sure. He had the Red Rock, then had another.
So he has two at the minute.
No. He traded one up. Like he still has the Red Rock. He got.
Oh, right, yes.
So
okay.
yeah,
I was about to say, like, why didn't you just borrow the second one?
because that's what. No.
Oh, but it didn't work out, obviously.
And then anytime, like half the time I've landed up, he has the tanker hooked on. You know. And as I say, or he's the type of fella that puts an implement in one machine, and then like he's like, oh, I have the tractor and the roller, and you land up, and it's like, oh, could I have the tanker? And he's kind of like, it's not like me where he's used to fucking taking stuff on 3 or 4 times a day. Like, you know, he'd be like, oh, you know, well, the roller's in the TM there, and I'm like, okay, I get the hint. You know, because maybe he wants to go out rolling later that night, and this is back whenever he had the bigger tanker, he was like, no, take my TM, don't use your 11090. And I was like, my 11090 will pull a 2,000 gallon tanker all day long. No, take the TM. You know, so if he wanted me to use the tanker, it had to be with his tractor.
Yeah, but
You know.
suppose he was thinking that if something happened to your tractor and that tanker was here, how you getting it off?
Yeah.
Aye.
So like
What happened with the Silage chiller last year.
yes,
The Rory needed it on the day after,
yes.
and we literally could not get your tractor started because where the key went on.
Yeah, the ignition solenoid went bang. It's right, starting to go funny again.
Fuck me.
Fate wiring, eh? But so, and they end up right. So this is a saga of my new tanker. So it was like, right, I had a flat tire when I went out to the shed yesterday. I was like, right, okay.
Funny, it looked brave and soft today.
Aye. So what I decided to do then was pumped it up yesterday,
And
I was like, happy days. Then came round, got the slurry and all mixed yesterday. Then hooked the tanker up this
To
morning.
be fair, it looked like basically water.
Pure water.
I like real. It
That
just
tank
looked.
was full of water, and like for all the cattle there last year done.
So you're basically just spreading dirty water.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
but sure, it's grand. Like it's cheaper than fertilizer.
Aye.
Well, the tanker's not cheaper than fertilizer, but anyway, that's no matter.
To be fair, it's mad to say that your tanker, was it not last year, year before, would have bought 3 bags of fertilizer.
Yeah,
You could
exactly.
feel
So that's what I mean. Like if I can make use of this tanker, it works out. Like it pays for itself as long as it doesn't fucking blow anything up.
How would it blow up?
It might suck in. Well, that'd be
Yes,
implode.
yes, that would be the
That'd be the opposite. That would be.
Actually, on that point, I seen a video of a tanker that was sucked in,
Oh,
and I don't know what they filled it with, but they ended up lighting it and it blew out again. Like it fixed itself.
fuck.
Now, again, that could have been a video of a reverse of it, but I'm definitely sure I seen that. But it was in
Maybe.
TikTok or something. Again,
Maybe.
it doesn't make any sense whenever it's coming out of my mouth right now. But anyway, go on ahead. Sorry.
So,
interrupted you.
So then went out again today, and was like, oh, yep, fuck, tires flat again. I said, Jesus Christ, right, man can't catch a break. So pumped it up again. That was all right. Filled the tanker.
He definitely had a good bit of pressure on it for you to get it home.
Landed out to the field. I was like, right, happy days. Put her on till spread, and the next thing, put her out, released the slurry out, and the next thing, looked behind me, and there was no slurry. Just a big stream of water, or dirty water coming out, and was like, what the fuck's going on here? So, turns out that the end of the spread plate had blown off. Then it blew off again. Then it blew off again.
Oh, fuck.
Then we fixed it with cable ties.
No. You fixed it with cable ties.
Okay, fixed it with cable ties.
You got in contact with me then. You were like, oh, do you have any big jubby clips? And I was like, what for? And then you eventually, I was like, oh sure, look, I'll call in 5 minutes and see what it's on. And then I seen your fix. Here they're multi-purpose with buggers, so they are.
Well,
you just need stronger ones on.
What happened then was, what I figured out was, whenever you're running with it, you can, as long as you don't like let her build up pressure and then hit spread. So I was literally coming down and just turning on the PTO and just opening it, so it wasn't building up any pressure, so I was getting no real spread. But it was still letting the slurry out, and I was happy enough. It just, the slurry would then pressurize itself out over the period of the, as you're spreading. So I was like, okay, it's not ideal, but it'll do. It's not the end of the world for now.
Is it working? Slurry tanker.
It's working. So then I managed to get a nice video of me coming down the field to prove it was working. Then the camera fell over. And then even getting on the field where I was at was fucking tight as hell, like. So, like, but all in all, you know what? The field's done.
How long did it take you to do it out of curiosity?
Probably all in all, like, the amount of fucking about, probably like 2 and a bit hours.
It's not that bad.
It's not bad. Well, I mean, it's an acre and a half field, but there's 5 loads. And, yeah.
It's only an acre and a half.
Yeah. But like, but like, sure, half the time was spent like trying to fix shit and all like that there. Because like, I mean, I filled it up earlier, went out, got it done, and come back in. And
to be fair, she was only filling half loads
at the start. Now she's doing full loads.
Oh,
yeah.
What did you do?
Just use.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the first 2 loads, it would fill fuck all, and then like after that, then the next 3 loads. Like, you were standing waiting for a good while, and I was like, this is taking a while to fill.
Did you continue to fill with her just...
No, put the revs a bit.
Yeah, you did put the revs
and, like, there's still a couple of niggles where, like...
Is there a lot of oil in the pump?
I put oil in the pump.
That's alright, you just don't want the vein sticking.
No, I put oil in the pump. So,
that's alright.
No, there's good suck off that pump. So, look... As I say, for all I need for the 6 or 7 times a year used, if even, for £1,500, look, at the end of the day, if it does implode and suck itself in.
Just watch them tyres, the ones you normally get in a Star, 1,300 gallon, are a bastard to get.
Well.
I just can mind us having serious trouble getting like another tyre for our
like
Star
a second-hand one.
No, like...
New one?
I think so. No, I'm going back good many years now, but it was a bastard to get one. Because they're the most oddest shaped fucking tyre ever was. It's strange. Like there's lugs of rubber coming out of them.
Mm-hmm.
If that even makes sense, but anyway, yeah.
Well, I mean, moving on then. Tractor pull.
I had never been.
Well, you had. You were at the tractor pull.
One with modified stuff on it.
Deadly.
Well, you might as well tell your story from during the daytime and all, for I obviously wasn't there.
So, I was Owen and Niall Smith invited me out. Niall's recently just purchased like a proper highly modified.
So it's Niall's went for it?
So that's Niall's. That's why Niall was driving it. And Niall's recently purchased like a highly modified tractor puller. It's a 17.1 litre V8.
Are they big money?
I don't think it was too bad. Given what it is, yes, obviously it's expensive. Like, if you get into tractor pulling, you'll probably never have a penny to your name ever again, given how much they seem to break. But, you know, like, the boys were talking, put it this way, you couldn't build it for what you're buying it, if that makes sense.
Like anything modified.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I got them then coming up the road, so I got a couple of scenic shots of them coming up the road, because it was like, you know, the Sammy was pulling the tractor puller, and then, no, sorry, got a couple of scenic shots of them coming up the road, because the Fate was pulling the tractor puller. Owns Fate, so you had the wide wheels in the Fate with the wide tractor puller, and then the Sammy was pulling Barry's 180/90. So it was a pretty nice sight to see coming up the road, so I stopped in and got a few shots of them coming up the way. I was alright, landed in then, and just started getting chatting to like the lads. You know, it was really good crack, because like, everybody, like, everyone make the odd dig, like, don't be putting this in your fucking podcast or stuff like that there. But it's funny because, like, you know, like, obviously I've been throwing digs at people and stuff like that there, just as wee jokes and stuff, and then when everybody's out, you know, the John Deere boys, like the Connery brothers, are all like, they obviously there's the 3650 there, and then you've got like the Ford boys, like the McGraths, obviously the Fate crew, like Owen and Niall and all them, and everybody else in between, like Alistair Cook and all them ones. Like, you know, it's just, it's funny when everybody's together. There's a real nice sense of camaraderie, and like, everybody's competitive, but everybody's friendly, and that's nice. That's a real nice thing to see. So, like, you're seeing, like, come on, that's like, bastard's gonna beat me, but fair play, you know, like, there's a real nice sentiment with that about it, like, and personally, like, I really enjoy watching, like, the farm tractors all going up the track. It's real good to watch, but then, like, that modified stuff is just something else.
Well, during the day I was shifting cattle and then milked cows, and basically was saying, I need to get away early just to be able to see as much in daylight too. Got there, I think it was near 9 o'clock.
Aye. You got down just for the modified class starting?
Aye. Funny, like, on the road it took me, tell us, excuse me, essentially you were running alongside the track, and obviously there was between it, but you had said, right, modified starting, whereabouts you at? I was like, literally just in this road would be 2 seconds. Well, obviously Big Blue is Reiki, and now McGrath's TW25 is Reiki. Modified is just a fucking whole other kettle of fish. Like, wow. It's
actually, see some of that modified stuff, like, them boys are steering on the side brakes, like, your steering wheel's doing absolutely nothing there. Like, I was thinking that, and you're hearing the lads chat, and they're like, you know, we'd maybe need to put a 50k or a 40k box in, and I'm like, come again? Because they're like, you know, they're saying, the 30k box is too slow, and that's what's in Niles. It's a 30k box, 30k back end. It's a Zetter back end, I think. And they're like, gosh, you could do a 40k boxer, and I was like, fuck me, like, that thing lifts and you're flat in the side brakes trying to control that at nearly 25 mile an hour. No thank you.
Like, it's just even the fact of you're seeing, like, put it this way, as pansy as it makes me sound, like, whenever they were going up the actual track, I was stepping back, like, I was like, fuck, if
them boys have fucking balls of steel sitting in them seats. Like, Jesus Christ, I don't know how they must have an adaptation on the seat to fucking rest their nuts in, like, because, like, like,
the pressure them engines are under.
Unreal.
And you've all seen the videos on YouTube. We've all typed them in, where the engine goes bang, bonnet fucking lifts. I can mind seeing a video, I don't know if anybody else has seen it, it was a video on YouTube, maybe you've seen it too, a John Deere 50 series that was being basically built for tractor pulling, bought the tractor, took the PTO and all out of her. Whatever way they converted the PTO drive to something else and made it go better. I can't mind what it was, but I can mind she blew the exhaust manifold or something off and it fucking flew into the crowd or something, you know, when it was lucky nobody was hurt. But then they were like, after that they had a bit of shade of metal over all stuff, so nothing would, if it went bang inside, you know, the bonnet.
Some of them tractor pullers, like, are homemade as fuck looking. Like, which I was looking at them, like, I got a quick nosy around a few of them, like, and I was like, these are deadly. Like, this is the type of thing. And then I was chatting to Cook. He had the ram down as well.
Yes.
He was pulling with the ram, and that was class as well. Like, he was out with the pickup. But I was chatting to Cook, and I was like, would you consider anything like this? And he was like, yeah, I'd love to. And I was like, do you know what? Like, you're the one who's crazy enough, and like, I suppose in that group, apart from Niall, obviously, it's like you're the one who's crazy enough to probably try and actually invest and like do the engineering of what could I make fit here and what could I make fit there. But like some of the stuff, like the manifolds them boys had in some of them tractors were rash, like, but
like
they
what are we
worked.
talking here?
Just like literally bits of circular, like, hollow tube welded onto a bigger hollow tube, welded into an exhaust that comes out with no bends on it. And I was like, like, I'm not going to run it down because the tractor literally just went vroom, the full way.
Well, I take it they're just, again, I know absolutely fuck all about them, but to me it's just fucked on a diesel, big turbo.
Not necessarily that major with the Dutz engine, the V10.
Oh,
no turbos in her.
Oh, she's
not stressed with it, yeah.
Just well at herself.
Very, very well at herself.
Incredibly well at herself.
Incredibly well at herself. But like the way I think they run on a. Owen tried to explain it to me. You go to top gear. You just put them in top gear when you're for pulling. And the way the clutch releases itself, it's like kind of like something like kind of the way Andrew explained it back in podcast 30, like the K-somatic clutch. It's kind of like it lifts itself as it bites, as it builds revs, it lifts the clutch. So almost like you, whenever she's coming off the clutch, you couldn't even push it back with your hand. She's driving the clutch back. Oh. So, like, basically, when you put it in top gear, the clutching and all that's really just to maneuver it about. But when you're going to pull, you put her in top gear and you just set her, build the revs, and then she just lifts the clutch back herself, and she starts to, like, it's like a centrifugal kind of design or something. I don't know. Hugh Barr's probably here right now, slapping his face into his hands, or maybe Alistair Cook's doing the same. I know that I'm going to get another verbal kicking in the group chat over the head of this, but something along the lines of that.
Aye, for
I'll have to do another apology in an episode's time.
Yes, that's right. But it's just the power that they must be obviously running through them engines is.
I think a lot of them are. There's something about it you have to have. Unless you go to the class that Niall's in, which is like unlimited. So Niall's running a 17.1 litre V8 with a Zetter back end. There was no Zetter come with a 17.1 litre V8 turbo.
Aye.
So
how the fuck do they take the power?
Because tractors back in those days were just actually made well. Look, most of them tractors that you've seen were either Nuffield or forged in majors. And there's a couple of TM, I think, Horrid Henry and that other one, can't remember what it was called.
Was one of them not run the Power Star engine on it?
Yeah.
But, like, is it, serious big injectors? But you'd love to, like, clearly that engine isn't a standard pistons and block and stuff.
I don't know. Tractor engines are different, like, because they are built strong.
Well, no, I understand that. Like, that's obviously.
Like, look at Cook's Genesis engine in Big Blue. She hasn't had pistons or rods or anything like that.
True, that is very true.
And it's pushing at the minute a sensible 500 brake. Or 500 horsepower. You don't really say brake in cars, but she's pushing a sensible 500 horsepower. Like, he could wind her on out to 680 if he wants, but then you're doing clutch packs.
Aye, he has the ability that he could run her on out.
There's boys in the Netherlands running.
That's right. Aye, for funny, you had a conversation with him, and they, talking all about it. But I even, I think, like, to be fair, Cooks, the county with the big 710s on her front and back, that was
she
cool.
done well. Ken done really well.
That was really cool. Again, I didn't see it on the Sunday, just Saturday night.
She done full pull on Sunday.
Oh
yeah.
There's a few more. She's only 180 horse too.
Not sure. There's a few more tractors landed on Sunday.
Oh.
Saturday night, nearly everybody got full pulls. on the Saturday night, which kind of then on the Sunday, a lot of people kind of messed up their gear changes. Because say, like, you know, take PJ McGrath there, like he'd come out in a certain gear, and as soon as at the sleigh, like the front end started bouncing.
Yes.
You know, he started bouncing like mad, and he was like, fuck, I should have been a gear lower. You know, Jody, the nephew, Gareth's son, then come out, then he seen in the 8210, he come out, he'd seen what had happened to PJ. He knew then to go down, and Jody just went, he pulled, I think Jody got second in the end. Like, yeah, you know, like stuff like, you know, like stuff like that wasn't really. It was cool to see everybody do full pulls, but like I remember, like Ryan Connery went up the track in the 3650 and just went and pulled it the whole way. And obviously, whenever Ryan come over, I had to tell him it was the worst run of the entire night, and it was pure shit because John Deere man and all that there. But I had to admit, like that 3650 just went boom. It's well at itself. They reckon she's over 200.
Aye, over 200.
Aye.
And a 3650.
And doesn't smoke.
Doesn't
smoke. Because I was running around taking a few videos of like the Reek and all that there, and like I was videoing the McGraths. Them things just plum diesel for the crack, like, and then turned around to Aaron, and Aaron revved it. There's very little smoke come out of it.
Right.
Must be well tuned.
Must be. Not to say the McGraths isn't well tuned.
Oh no, they're ignorant. The
Oh.
PJ's 7810's ignorant, like that thing is class. I had a good look in rounder then because I wanted to see what way he'd done the turbo and the piping and all that, and it's really well done, like. But I was like, you know, do you just use this for pulls? And he was like, no, this thing's literally used every day.
Deadly.
And I was like, that's class, like that's unreal.
I
And
like-
pulls a digger and all, like.
I suppose realistically, if something's sitting well set up, like 150, 160 horse.
There was a real 11090 was there, and your man came out, and he had big wide tires and all on her, and I was looking at it and I was like, that's deadly. But he didn't go that far. I think he maybe went to the 45 or something like that there. There's another 110 there as well. She was well at herself. I was chatting to him for a bit, and he was saying when he downed her when she was standard, and he said she was in around 115.
Oh.
He goes, she goes, it was going real well when he had her, you know, no turbo. And he's like, she was going well. He's like, and then I put a turbo on. He goes, and I felt kind of sluggish. He goes, I downed her, and it was out to 127. And he's like, so obviously I had a fettler a wee bit. And I goes, what's shot now? And he was like, oh, 155. And I was like, right.
Oh.
So she done well.
Would you ever put yours to that?
140 is enough. 140 is enough for me personally. Like, if I'm going pulling, might maybe open her out a bit, but I don't want to be fishing pistons out of their rubber band, like.
No, true, but sure, if they can take a good bit of abuse.
Frosty then, he was doing the what do you call it, the like pushing up, the leveling.
Yes.
The leveling, that's the word. He was
The
doing the
land
leveling.
leveling.
Jeez, we had a fucking handling on Saturday night. So I had the keys to Niall's van where the compressor was.
Okay.
And then he ran off. He's like, we need to get back, we need to go out. And he goes, where's the keys to the van? He's like, I'm trying to ring you. And my phone was in airplane mode because I was trying to save battery.
Yeah.
So anyway, someone come up and tell me, here, Owen's looking for you. And I went, fuck, right, okay. So I ran outside, met Owen. And he was like, oh, he's like, give you the keys for the van. I was like, no, I gave him the Sean McGonigal. Fuck, just caught myself. I was like, no, I gave him the Sean McGonigal.
Yeah.
And he was like, where's Sean? I goes, I don't know. I goes, have you his number? And he goes, no. And I was like, well, never have I. So I had to do an absolute fucking runabout to try and find. Sean was down at the very far end. Got the keys, come back up, ran up, got the wheels pumped, and then the next time we come back down the lane, and there's a van blocking the lane. Anything that could have went wrong. Like, just in that brief. And it might have only been 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But like,
Felt longer.
felt like a lifetime. Just then, obviously, because the track needs to be level, because every pole needs to be like,
Yes.
you know, you want everything to be fair. You know, because that's the one thing, you don't want someone to turn around and say, I was sure the leveler wasn't out for my run, so I couldn't go
Yes.
up the track, and
then
someone else
essentially it works into excuses, isn't that? Yes.
or someone else can turn around and say, oh well, he went up the track that was right dug. So, you know, so they had the roller only out. The roller and the leveler working in tandem was actually a really good job. But yeah, so the tractor pulling was absolutely class. When I went up on the Sunday then, I didn't take as many videos on the Sunday.
You just enjoyed it?
Just enjoyed it for the brief while, because then the rain came on, and then I'd agreed to meet Becca because I hadn't seen Becca since she was away that weekend, and I'd been in Liverpool all week, so I hadn't met Becca. So I'd agreed, like, look, I need to leave early to go and see her. So I didn't get the video as much as I would have liked, or see as much as I would have liked on the Sunday, but I got to see the 5.5 ton class, which for me is the kind of the most relatable, because that's where my size of tractor would be. So I got to see it, and then got to see the modify, so I was happy enough. Like,
funny.
They're all the way pulling again this weekend too, the fucking madman. They're in Donegal this weekend.
Oh no, I know. Just logistically, never going to happen for me.
No, I couldn't have done it either, with given the anniversary and all been this weekend. Like,
well, funny, you were obviously at the pulling on Sunday, and to keep me in the good books of Gemma, I took herself, and the dog to Benone Beach.
Yes.
Brilliant day. Like, we got there probably about 1 o'clock, went for a walk, it was grand. Oh, just basically a nice day. Went into the port, and like, you couldn't ask for better weather, and probably got home about, what was it? Probably about 4:30. But anyway, long story short, we went for the walk, and she goes, look, we'll get a couple of towels and we'll lie on the beach for a while. And I was like, I have no sun cream on me at all. I do not want to turn into fucking Mr. Connor. Last year, after Drift Masters, burnt to toast. Just not worth it.
No.
But anyway, so like, we'll only lie out for about half an hour, and so where we lay, if anybody knows Benone, you drive in past the toilet/cafe.
Is like the swimming pool still there? The outdoor swimming pool?
That's down at the tourist complex.
Oh, right. I haven't been to Benone, I would say, since I was 9.
Brilliant beach. Far quieter than the pool. Well, I like it.
We always used to go to Downhill. I think Benone's next up from Downhill.
Benone and Downhill are the same.
Oh, are they the same place?
Yes.
Castle Rock's the other beach.
Yes. Sure, Castle Rock may as well just be the other side of Port Stewart.
Castle Rock is literally the other side of Port Stewart, where the mouth.
I know. Downhill and Benone is just separated by like a bit of a stream. That's all it is.
Yeah.
The exact same strand. If you're a good go and pick up, you're probably a good drive from one side to the other. But anyway, so put down towels. So as you were coming into the beach, sort of just to the left hand side, as you were still the entrance, we just put a couple of towels down there. Cars weren't near us and all that, so that was grand. But I was lying down anyway, and seen these ones turn in Peugeot 207. No, sorry, 208.
Okay.
And they were only in like first gear, but I started to see the soft sand and the wheel spin.
Oh, good God.
And I was like, oh, fucking pricks. Fucking prick. Like, why are you driving in around here? Anyway, so I was like, right, pop my head down. I was like, we'll see how they get on. This will make for interesting
viewing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then the wheels spun like through, like basically spun around 3 times.
Oh, right.
And I was like, oh fuck, he's digging. And then they put the foot down a wee bit, and they dug a wee bit more. And I was like, please stop. But then I think they realised, oh, we've bogged. And then the passenger jumped out, and I was like, oh, do you want a hand? They were like, oh, do you know what to do now? I'm like, oh fuck, they actually haven't a clue. So naturally in my head was, if you're just about to spin, stop completely, put it in reverse, and just feather the clutch out, and as the wheels turn slowly,
you'll hopefully get a bit of grip.
If you're pushing, somebody pushing at the front, you'll catch grip. So I walked over, and so the driver jumped out, and then there was a fella there anyway, and he was like, I was like, oh, jump into the car, put it in reverse, and I'll push if somebody else pushes, but like literally let the clutch up as easy as possible. Do you want to do it? Because you sound like you know what you're doing. I was like, not my car, no. So anyway, first time we went to do it, he like, I don't know, he didn't pull the clutch up easy enough and just went and conked. But again, second time, all went well. 3 of us pushing. She caught the wee bit of grip and then got out. And then I was like, yeah, no, stay with this off, son, you're grand. All was good. not 5 minutes later, from, the left-hand side of where we were at, there was a car, Vauxhall Astra, and they were again parked in the soft sand. Anyway, so in my eyes, I had done my good deed for the day.
Yes. Jesus.
So I had laid down the
See you later,
towel.
alligator.
I had laid down the towel and
Just let on. You knew nothing.
so seen them going, but like as they were starting to fucking, spin, instead of trying to steer for the fucking beach again, for the
Yeah.
water again, for the
The
hard,
hard stuff, yeah.
they were continuing to go straight through the soft. And I mean, they were in the top of second gear and their wheels were spinning like fuck. And then Jem was like, just get up and go and give them a hand. I was like, no, I've done my bit today. Fuck that. Maybe I was bad doing that, but I was like, fuck if I'm getting up now. I am not Mr. Tell How People Drive.
You weren't there to pull people out either. You're not a charity case. You done your good deed for the day.
Yes. I can help you if you were like 2 seconds, like literally from 5-10 meters in front of me.
Yeah, no.
But anyway, but then they all got out of this car and he kept fucking revving the dung out of it.
People just think
And
Jeremy Clarkson.
5 people were fucking pushing, and they were basically pushing into soft sand.
People just think like Jeremy Clarkson, just go power. Just fucking, that's the way to do it. That's not how to do it. Like,
Oh no. But anyway, so long story short, it would baffle you that a lot of people don't know how to drive in sand at all,
yeah.
or even the concept of how to get out of.
But we take it for granted because we've grown
But
up.
it's amazing when you've skills you didn't even realise you had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was my thing. Also, went into the port and got a feed, and now it's a nice enough feed, but that cracking fish and chips, that was in the news or something for raising costs. If they have to continue raising costs, they'll have to close.
Yeah.
30 quid for basically a fish and chip and a burger and chip and 2 drinks.
It's not
You would
unreasonable.
Yes, it is.
Not in this day and age. You want a chippy, you're walking out with £24. Like.
20 quid would easily buy you a fish supper and a chicken fillet burger meal with a drink.
I don't know where you're. Two must be a lot cheaper.
Ronaldstown is even that.
£22-23. You get that in Ralstown, like.
Seriously.
Source. I go to Waves often.
I go to Waves too. I go to Waves as well.
Waves are great.
What do you get out of Waves?
Chicken fillet burger and a cheesy chip.
See, I only
With
get
taco sauce. For the cheesy chip.
Well, anyway, I thought it was very expensive.
It is dear, but like that's the sign of the times we're living in. Like, it used to be you could go for a carvery and a carvery was £12, £13 max.
When?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm talking 10 years ago. Now your carvery's £23 minimum.
Aye, but you can fucking eat a lot more out of the carvery than you can the fish and
The
chips.
carvery the day, it was great. Went to the bush town. It was class.
Y'all go to Tully Glass.
Tully Glass is shite for a carvery.
No, it isn't.
It is.
No, it isn't.
It is.
No, it isn't.
No, trust me.
Believe me, I think it's nice.
I've been to Tully Glass.
I'm sure you have.
The bush town is better.
Right?
Just saying, the bush town is better. You go to the bush town, you'll not want to go back to Tully Glass. I'm telling you now.
To be fair, the bush towns are right out drive for me
Sure, if
compared
you're
to
going to the
Tully
port?
Glass. Never actually thought about the bush town now.
You're going to the port?
Were you at the port today?
No, Gerling went. We had to go shopping to Asda, and then I had to come home and put out the rest of the slurry.
Here's another thing. You go shopping on a Sunday.
Yes.
It's fucking mayhem.
You
on
find
a
me
Sunday.
time during the week to go shopping, and I will go. But I don't have Bernard's watch, so
Well, to be fair, I normally have to go to like Asda and Lidl at 9 o'clock on whatever night of the week.
Yeah.
I can.
before we move on, actually, I have something else this week.
No way.
I finally bit the bullet and bought gas coilovers for this year.
After how many months of fucking about?
That was BC. Look, I've had the money sitting there for a good while, and I was willing to spend more, close to maybe double what I've spent with gas, but that I was going to go for BC, because gas is still like an old style coilover, whereas BC has like the preload and all that there. But BCs and they end up, they just said, oh no, like I was like, look, I need a BMW front strut, but instead of 52mm, it needs to be 50mm at the bottom. And they were like, oh well, we haven't tested that and all this here, and we don't really feel comfortable sending it out to you. And they were going to send me a BMW strut, and they're like, oh sure, just we'll send you a BMW strut and you can make it work. And I was like, if I do that, there won't be enough meat left on the BMW strut for it to be safe. And then there's still no real solution on what was in the rear. And then they kind of went cold. So I said, like, you know, I was like, I'm going to message them going, well, lads, like, any update? And nothing. And waited a week and then just said, right, fuck it. Gas, it is. Got them. They're a much better made coilover than an Evo.
Oh, really?
Evos are polybushed at the top and bottom. Gas are rubber.
Okay.
So they're not as harsh. I also have the dampening set 50-50, like midway, so not too soft, not too hard. Interestingly enough, put it at the same height all the way around. The passenger front and the driver rear were sitting decked, same way as what happened when I done my car.
Oh right, yes.
And then so I screwed them up both a bit. And then I went back, took her on a drive, and then come back, and the driver front was sitting a bit too low, and the passenger rear sitting a bit too low.
You should have just left them all the same length, and then driver.
No, she was too low on the rear. She was too low on the rear. See, the fuel tank sits on that side, and I think that other side of the engine's heavier.
Possibly,
because even when you're jacking the car up, the driver's side lifts before the passenger side. Even whenever you put it directly in the middle. You have to actually lift closer to the passenger side at the front for the front to lift equally. So that's the two heavier sides, I'd imagine. So yeah, look, it's sitting out there at the minute. But yeah, no, it's in the gas now. So I took it a run. It's comfy, comfier. Although she's all over the place, it's definitely a lot nicer place to be.
Oh, happy days, yeah.
So happy about that. If I can get the alignment, I was supposed to get the alignment sorted this weekend, but all the crack with the slurry, just never really got a chance. So hopefully next weekend I'll get it ready for Vicky's day on the 26th.
You're taking her date?
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah.
Are you gonna have her mapped?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately not. She should be mapped for Donegal. If she's not, I'll be a wee bit annoyed about it, like, but we'll see. I know it's, look, I've spoke to Ali about it multiple times. It's not Ali's fault if it can't be got, like,
no,
if we can't get it.
Logistics is logistics.
It's not even not logistics. Is Ali's obviously not mapping it. Ali needs to do a bit of work before getting a map, but it's not on Ali to map. So yeah, like if Ali can't get it squeezed in for mapping, he could do the work. But then if he does the work, it definitely can't be driven.
Yes,
because different injectors and the cam sensor and all that there, like, so, you know, there's a bit more to it.
Yes, of course. Ironically, right, I arrived here at 9 and the two of us looked at one another and went, what in the fuck are we going to talk about? And at that stage we were both like, sure, if we got over an hour we'd be happy enough. And ironically, our very first podcast was only like an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah. And then I remember when we got to episode 2 and it was like an hour and a half, and I was like, don't really want to be going any longer than that now. And now, a year on, you're pushing 2.5 hours, like. But people seem to like the longer podcasts. So, like, our clientele are either boys driving tractors, welding, or fixing shit. So,
well,
you know,
it's like
or lorries,
this here.
driving lorries. So, like, they've time. Don't want to say time to kill, but
why would you even come out with that? They're driving and they're working while they're driving, and therefore they like the sound of our voices.
Time to listen, as what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, they like the sound of our voices.
Yeah, that's it. That's got to be it.
Well, why else would you listen to us?
Because of the content and not our voices.
All right, fair enough then.
Like, I wouldn't want to listen to me. Like,
well, you have to listen to you on a weekly basis.
Editing, it's fucking disgusting. Anyway.
Yes.
So, main topic.
Yes.
Going to rehash what we did last year at the same time. Silage, because it's cheap wins.
No, it's because everybody is cutting silage at the time of recording, and I kind of wish I was cutting my silage right now.
There is a harvester going. There was. Can't hear it now.
Would be.
Whenever we started recording, there was a harvester going. I don't know where, but there was a harvester going.
Is that your wee 6 cents?
No, I could hear it. You could hear like the cane of the drum. Did you not hear it?
No.
Alright, well I did.
Okay, that's good. So this podcast, yes, we're going to talk about silage. But last year,
fucking love this time of year.
Last year we sort of talked about
Our own experiences.
Yes, in the past and all. This time, so we're not talking about the same shit.
Because it'll just be us
Because
rehashing.
we spent actually from 9 o'clock to fucking 20 to 10 figuring out how to not make a balls out of it and how to not talk about the same shit different year.
When we recorded last year, had your first cut went on? Because we didn't talk about the fate in the big trailer because we didn't know if that was happening.
That's right. Actually, I suppose.
But we've talked about the fate on the big trailer so many times in this podcast, it doesn't really need to be discussed any further. Other than it was a great day.
I'll never forget the fact that we went to lift the trailer, and coming out your man's lane, you just went, I actually think I've bitten off too much than I can chew. You were like, that's fucking massive.
Yeah. It was quite a tall trailer too.
It was only tall at the front.
Yeah.
If you had looked at it, it would be the same if Keane's front face went up to the height of the slope side.
No, but you put it beside the 14-ton Keane. It was a bigger trailer.
Okay then, right. So it was.
There's literally a picture of that trailer parked beside a 14-ton Keane Classic, and that trailer is taller.
So yes, we're not going to rehash that all. This time, Michael, what are we going to discuss? Right. So yes, we went into the bank of God knows what, with 0% finance, which is hard to come by these days.
No, 0% payback.
That's actually a very good point.
We've got the government subsidy mod. There we go. We've got the government subsidy mod from Farm and Simulator. Plant it in your garden.
Yes.
Did you not catch on to what I was saying for a second? Because you kind of looked funny when I said the government subsidy mod.
No, I did catch on. I went, fuck, wait, like, yeah. So essentially, we're going to talk firstly about
if we were going contracting and we had pretty much unlimited money, and we'll keep it to a relative degree of what everybody else is kind of using. We're obviously not going to use fucking Steiger tractors or big tracked vehicles or anything like that.
No, that would.
Because it's not relevant.
Yeah.
So we'll keep it relevant. That's the word I was looking for. Relevant.
So, start off. To mow grass, what would you have?
Would you go for a big?
I'm asking you. Don't ask me. Right. What would you go for?
Well, it's a discussion. We're going in this together.
God, I'm asking you, and you're asking me.
I personally prefer a tractor and trebles.
Really?
Yes.
Logic's out the window. Still tractor and trebles.
Yes, because I just feel like an extra tractor is always handy to have for like a long draw or something like that there.
Yes, but this is the government subsidy mod.
Even at that, I still think that a tractor and triples.
What tractor?
You'd want something decent sized, like.
What tractor though?
In my head, the size of what I'd be looking at would be something like a Fendt 936. But I wouldn't buy a Fendt. Because the new engines in the Fendt are not good.
They've fixed that though.
Have they fixed that?
The same as Adrian Tugwell's, the 942.
Yes.
Is now. They went away. I think they're now MAN engines, if I'm thinking right.
Because the Germans want to stay German, whereas like the likes of Massey's and Valtras use the Sisu engines. I think Fendt is owned by the same crowd, AGCO. But Germans will always want to stay Germans. So that's why they have different engines, and that's why they're weak as shit.
What engine they went to? I think it's MAN engines.
Is it MAN? I don't know either, but basically
they definitely did change the engines on them.
The reason why I wouldn't have. So we're basically, I'll be talking something like 320 to 360. So and along that as well, you'd have the T7 315 New Holland.
So you go for a 315.
Yeah, or. Don't know, I kind of wouldn't be against a Valtra. What's the big series? The S is the big series in the Valtras, isn't it?
Yep. I think so. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't fucking know.
Why? Well, you're my business partner in this case, so what would you consider mowing then?
Well, if I'm being brutally honest, I would either go big M450,
Okay.
which I think anybody would say, but otherwise, I would either be either that or a 942 if you get them in reverse drive with triples,
Okay. Yeah.
or else like an 860 class harvester, convert it with 3 mowers in the front of her. So,
Aye.
like a big M before the big M.
Yeah. Well, you'd just be as well going for. In this world, you'd be better going for the big game.
Not really.
No.
No, there's not. Well, the harvester is essentially just like the Fendt, but cheaper. Because you could obviously 942 Fendt's probably 300 grand.
Yeah, but we've got the government subsidy in this case.
True. Then that way you'd just go for a big M450.
So you would go big game.
Well, really, just because flick of a switch you can grip, flick of a switch you can turn it off.
They do say there's nothing that mows grass like a big game, like.
Well, they're the only real self-propelled mower there is.
Well, who was I chatting to? Was it Ryan Connery? No, Aaron Connery I was speaking to last week at the tractor pull, and he says...
They only can go so fast.
He was saying that... Yeah, he was saying so...
Like 15k or something?
Something like that. So he was saying in a tractor, he says you could wipe the Fendt. Or he says a tractor could wipe the crone all day long because the crone can only go so quick in the grass, whereas you can push it on with the tractor.
True, but then you come to the end of a row, they're more clumsy.
If you'd reverse drive though, with your 942, it'd be a bit easier.
True.
So what are we thinking? More than tractor or big game?
Well, you have your choice, now I have my choice. So then, you know.
It's something like a 936 or a 942 reverse drive. I would be on for that. Harvester them.
That's a toughie.
I feel like it would be very, very hard to go past a Chrome. Like what's the new one? What's the new one up from the 700? 780?
Aye.
Or is that New Holland's the 780?
No, it's 780 Chrome.
I feel like a Chrome 780 would be a good place to start. The Chrome stuff's well made, it's good stuff.
Class would be hard to go by too.
Class has the money very well as well.
New Holland, know nothing about them.
Know very little about them too, but the dealer backup with New Holland's very, very good.
John Deere, again.
Know none about them.
Know none about them. To be honest with you, in self-propelled harvester terms, I know fuck all about them.
Any of them?
Yes.
Yeah.
It'd be hard pressed to go buy an 880. You don't need a wide body frame one. Or you don't need a...
No, not really. Depends how many acres you're cutting.
Between the two of us, what?
Well, between the two of us at the minute.
103. We'd wipe your
But if we were going contracting...
We'd wipe your grass out into each other loads.
Yeah. If we were going contracting though, you'd be going for a bigger... If you're going for likes of a 942, but you'd be wanting to go a wide body harvester.
Not necessarily.
No?
Well... I've seen Rory's 870, and to be honest with you,
that's as good as any.
I don't really know what the benefits of the wide body are.
I know the speed he was going through, like 50-foot rows, is
astronomical.
Yeah, like he knows how to drive her, but
I think self-propelled harvester is all just to do with price.
Yeah,
and what they can get, and obviously if you have maize header or whole crop header, you're hardly going to go away from what you have, because obviously you need to fit, and like them headers are 60,000-70,000 each. I can mind Lagans, the time they get the whole crop header with a mill at the top of it, if I'm thinking right, again I know fuck all about them, was like big money at 38,000 or something.
And that was back, what, 20 years ago?
Probably 15.
Aye.
That was whenever the barley that we had in the field in front of the house, we put barley into it.
Yes.
And put grass through it in the thoughts of whole crop.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, the barley way outcompeted the grass, even though we stitched it with grass twice.
Mm-hmm.
and like we should have combined it was that good a crop,
Right. Okay.
but obviously we threw it in the silo in that time. But yeah, so what harvester would you go for?
Crone.
Crown then 780 then.
What would you be raking with? What would you be your raking tractor?
To be fair, you wouldn't need anything bigger than like a 6S.180 Massey.
No, I think your big top end of the 4 cylinders is probably a good size for a 50-foot rake. Aye.
And I personally hate the look of the newest Massey, so it'd probably be, I want a 67118S. I do not like the silver in the cab.
Aye, actually, that's growing on me.
Because, like, what they've ultimately done there to charge so much more money is paint the cab silver. Now, I know of, right, so if you're going for the identical spec to my own, which is efficient, the cab looks the same inside, bar where the instrument cluster is black. So, if you go for the same spec as my own, you're literally paying 20 grand for a different bonnet and a silver cab.
So we're thinking the likes of, say, like a T6
You'd probably go for
70, 180.
Or even a T7 200 probably, for all the price difference, would be as economical to buy.
Aye, but the wee one would just be better.
How?
Just be better suited, I thought, getting in and out of.
They're all as good a turn circle. Probably.
T7 210 then, probably, for a 50-foot rake then, if it was me.
Are they any different from a 200?
Well, the 210 is the new ones.
Oh, really? You don't get a T7 200?
Well, yeah, I don't know if you do, but at the minute, but I know 210s definitely exist.
So, carton and grass.
How many?
I don't know.
4?
Aye.
I don't think personally you need anything bigger than, again, a T7 210, but you'd want it well at itself.
Aye.
You'd want a T7 210, but you'd be wanting to run on 210 all the time. I quite like Donnelly trailers. I would go for 20-foot Donnellys.
I would have
7S.
7719S.
7719S. Or 77.
The Dyna VT in them.
Why a 19 and why not a 20?
20's large frame. It's a brute of a thing.
Okay.
7719 Dyna VT. Well, they only came in Dyna VT. I'm hard pressed to go away from a Donnelly as well. 4 20-foot Donnellys. Or else 4 20-foot Red Rocks.
Red Rocks, but the new Red Rocks them 2020s are massive.
They're no bigger.
Big trip. They're 20 ton, 20 foot, whereas a Donnelly is 20 foot, 16 ton.
Aye, but they're still they still carry the same basket of grass.
Yeah, it's just
the fact that you've high grain sides in the Red Rock. So in theory terms, she's rated for 20 ton.
They are a big trailer. I quite like the Donnellys. I quite like the simplicity of the Donnellys. I think they're
light.
They're not actually that light.
No, but what I mean is, like, and they're multi-purpose bale trailers too. What rake would you go for? You're thinking like you know what you'd look for in a rake.
You probably, well, if your harvester is, if you went for a Crone harvester, you'd probably most likely go for Crone Moors.
Right.
So you'd go for a Crone rake, and that way you've dealer backup.
Aye, fair enough. Right. Okay.
So probably just a Crone Swadro, whatever the 50-foot option is.
Aye. So we've harvester, trailers, tractors, rake, mower. What would you push in with?
A 419, I'd say, is probably a fairly good size, but I quite like the Volvos. Not that I've ever driven one, but I quite like them. But tell you what, what I seen the other day, and they're a cool bus.
What?
It was a W170.
New Holland?
Yeah. They're cool.
Personally, I would probably have a 435S, Red S, or else a 419 Red S.
The 435's big, but there's boys now using 457s.
Yes. They are.
I mind when
they're a 20-ton shovel, like.
I mean, when the 434 come out, like we're talking 2007 or whatever, when the 434 come out, like it was a monster. And I was like, Jesus Christ, any man in the country running a 434, because they were what, a 434 was like 230 horsepower or something at the time, like, and boys were like, these are like, this is a big unit, like, it's like, geez, they have a 434. Then I remember being over at Kirkpatrick's and they had a 435, and I was like,
to be fair, actually, it's only because I've watched the video and heard more about them. So I maybe have a Cat 926M, same as what Quins have.
Yeah, that's a big article too.
Are they the same as a 435?
They would be, yeah, because the 7. No, sorry, I'm
they're nowhere near the same horsepower, but their hydrostatic transmission, if I can think right. So they climb differently to the way like a JCB would.
Not sure.
There's no like I don't think there is torque lock on them or something. But basically, the fella was saying that had one in the video that Farmflex done, that he was surprised that more people didn't have them because of the way that they worked. Like, you know, you're not revving the crap around out of them. She just, I don't know. Anyway, so I know much about them. But so you'd have JCB 419 then?
Aye, probably. What about then if you were going for your own actual fleet? Like, so we worked it out roughly. Say me and Connor decided that, say theoretically myself and Connor, between the two of us, we're doing about 500 acres a cut. So say Connor's cutting 300 acres and I'm cutting 200 acres.
What
Just
Michael really wants to say is he's slapped himself in the head. He's decided to go from 4 cattle to 200 cattle. Whatever would make him do that. He's also going to leave his job, going to be a full-time farmer, and instead of buying a Coke can, he's going to buy maybe slightly better machinery.
So we worked out basically that if you're doing 500 acres a year,
so say 200 for my own, 200 for yours,
call it 300, 500 is easy number.
and then if you're doing 3 cuts of that,
you're basically looking at 37.5 grand a year spread
roughly
over 5 years. That's roughly about 190k. So obviously you've got diesel to take in. If you've got a contractor, are you supplying the diesel for the contractor?
they don't do it. You don't supply diesel anymore.
I didn't think so.
They prefer it now because I think there's reports of people getting bad diesel.
Yeah, of course. So basically, if you were to buy your own fleet that was in around 150,000 over the 5 years, you probably put a fortune of diesel through too. Like, but so like, not that you're going to get a massive amount for 150 grand. Connor, back to this again. What would you mow with? If it was like, you know, as we're saying, like a sort of a big farmer owned operation, you know.
Probably. Now, bear in mind, you would go for a new mower, I think. And if you're doing that amount, people still do get away with single mowers. We'll probably go for a Malone.
Single mower to mow 500 acres. Catch yourself on.
No, well that I know. You'd
still be going triples.
No, we wouldn't need triples for that.
You think not?
Front and back.
Front and back then. Okay, so front and back. What?
Now it'd be 2 days a good going to do it all.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. But 2 would be enough, because if you have to think, you need money for other stuff.
Well,
and you wouldn't really want to buy a second-hand mower.
Okay, yeah. Mowers are big money nowadays.
They are. I've heard recently a set of triples was 60 grand.
Oh, fuck.
So, say, would you really need a conditioner?
Oh, why? Because then you have to buy a tedder.
Tedders are not that dear, like. Well, I don't think they're that dear, and to be honest with you, they last a lifetime. But as long as you use them right. Let me think. You could buy Crone or Class or Malone, to be honest.
So just
actually, you know what? You would buy 2 trailed Malone mowers with conditioners, because you could have two of the tractors drawn in, could also be 2 tractors pulling the mower.
I'd be inclined to go for a trailed mower on a tractor in the front, or a mower in the front, because the trailed you can kind of pull on, you're less likely to miss bits.
No, I know that, but at the same time, I would probably have 2 of the tractors that were drawn in the silage would single mower in each.
Oh, you'd want one to have a front,
Why?
just to get, just a bit of extra. You'd want to be doing, I know 2 at a time, but you want to be doing 2 with one tractor, like.
Why?
Well, you're losing a tractor.
Aye, but you're only doing your own silage. And you're trying to do it on a budget, like.
So what are you thinking? Like,
A front mower's 10 grand,
yeah.
at least. And I'm not saying that a trailed, but I would assume, again, I haven't a fucking clue, but I would assume that a trailed mower, Malone, I think, is meant to use a class bed.
Right, okay.
And they're very popular with the likes of dairy farmers and that.
Okay.
So say 2 of them would be, like 20 grand.
Okay, so 2 Malones. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's grand.
Tractor to mow with.
You wouldn't need anything really.
You only really need 100 horse each.
Yeah.
Or well, if like you get 130 horse, and I'm sure you could fly around the field at 10, 11k.
So if you're packing 2 more tractors and bearing in mind you'll also be using them to draw on, what would you be going for?
Now that's the thing, because any modern classic is now big money.
Yeah. But you don't necessarily need to buy the best fully restored.
No.
Some with high hour, you could buy some with high hours or whatever. Because I know what I'd be buying.
I know what you would be buying too.
You know one of them, you don't know the other.
To be fair, I would even like there's something within realistic amount. I would say probably 250 480s Massies.
Really?
I'll tell you why. They're the 4.9 litre 6V engine, and they map really well to about 150, 160 at least. Same engine as what our big tractor is in them. They're very simple, no AdBlue or anything, and they probably second hand are probably still quite dear. But like as long as you have more than enough power there, and it's not a big tractor, and yeah. What would you go for?
Mowing?
Aye, your mowers, what would you buy?
I'd have one of them in an 8340.
Okay.
8340, and I would put the other one on a 6830.
Fair enough.
6830.
Rake, 30 or 50 foot?
30 foot. 30 foot's all you need.
What tractor would you have in the rake?
Something like 100 horse. Like literally like a... Probably like some like a 11090. The only thing is a 11090 is awkward with the spools.
I'd said even TS115 or TS100.
Aye, but I'm just thinking like some... Well, you'd want a 115 then, really.
Then, so you've got your mowing, you've got your rake. Trailers.
Only two 18 foot, 2 16 foot.
Because
then that means you can kind of put nearly any tractor on them. Even if you had to put, say, a TS1, well, 110 would pull a 14 ton, but you'd, 110 if you needed it, you could throw it in the 16 foot, and it's not going to be horsing the shade out of her, like.
For
you
myself,
2 more tractors then to pull with.
In theory, if you could have 4 trailers, probably would be hard pressed to either go with 4 18-foot classic Red Rocks.
Right. Okay.
Because it would matter if they're fucking 20-year-old, they're still grand, most of them, or classic Cairns. And again, 2 more tractors to pull them. You have 2 54s and say an 8340. If I don't say that, I think anybody would say I'm a madman. And 6290. Honestly.
Yeah.
No, none of this is going to be in budget.
You're not necessarily buying the best, like.
Now you could buy a dog and
Well, you just buy some mechanically dead on, you know.
it's not a princess on the outside, like.
So 6830 and 8340 mowing in for me. So you really own 2 or 3 at all times. So I would have said TM 140 and
like the first of them or the
TM
facelift
140
of them?
or TM 155. Probably a TM 140. It's one of the drawn on. And then probably along with that an F140 Fiat.
That took you that long to remember that.
Brain fart there, because it was like, I know I suggested something that wasn't a New Holland. I'll tell you why, the F140's basically the same as a 110 but with turbo, but the gearing's so much better.
Oh really?
Yeah, gearing's so much better. And an F series is a better 90 series, like, truthfully honest, like, they're a better 90 series. And then what would you go harvester wise?
Now you're asking one. Probably try and find a clean 800 series class.
Would you go for a self-propelled? I'd go trailed.
Tell you why I wouldn't go trailed. If you go real clean self-propelled second hand, and you just, it's like anyone could go bang, you know, you have probably less chance of them blocking. No, you're looking after it, like. And at the end of the day, in my opinion, a self-propelled, she'll blow into any trailer. You're not having to dismantle half a trailer to just to get a JF 800 to blow into it or something like that.
But you'd be going for like a JF 1060 or something, or 1050.
But sure, whenever you go to that big, you're probably looking at shitbox self-propelled harvester territory anyway.
Oh no, not for a 1050.
Really?
Yeah, I would have thought so. 1050, maybe 11 grand get you a 1050, like.
Oh, fair enough.
Then that means you need a tractor to pull it. In my case.
Yes. What would you have pulling it?
Jesus, pardon me. You'd want something around 200 horse. I would have said, do you know what? I would take an 06 TM 190.
They're cool, boss.
Yes, and the reason I'm saying 06 is that's when all the gremlins were sorted out.
Yes.
But I have heard of people, I heard of someone, I can't remember who it was recently, and they took a TM 190 and converted it to mechanical. Because that was the problem with the TMs, they're an electrical injection.
No, just
they're not mechanical, like the way, you know, you wouldn't screw one.
Okay, right.
They're an electrical setup. So apparently, like, there's a couple of people have taken them and put like a TM 155 pump or something on them. Probably talking into my arse, but I know that's a thing, is converting to mechanical. Now, the 190s also had loads of other electrical gremlins, like the diff lock randomly coming on when you were driving down the road at like 50k, and next thing she'd just throw you into the nearest hedge, stuff like that. But you can get, because the 150s, the last of the 150s, probably you wouldn't be paying dangerous money. So if you had a 1050 JF on a TM 190, now I'm well aware we're probably over our budget for this stage.
Significantly.
But you're saying about buying new mowers. I wouldn't buy new mowers. I wouldn't buy a new harvester, and I wouldn't buy new trailers. I wouldn't buy new tractors either.
But that's the whole point of it. You're going for.
But you're saying you're saying, oh, you'd buy a new mower. I wouldn't be buying a new rake. I'd buy a class 780 or something like that.
Well, then you wouldn't buy new mowers. Then you'd, I don't know, buy a 2-trail John Deere
60s. That'd be a great buy.
Aye, 2 of them. You know, if you're going trailers, you could you could pick up 2 or 3 half rotten canes. See if they can still hull grass. That's all you need.
So then, the way I have at the minute is I'd be set up at a 190, an 8340, a 6830, an F140, a TM 140, and a 11090.
That's 180 grand there.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot for in tractors. What are we pushing in then?
Probably an old TM 320. Yes.
I was thinking even a TM 310.
Or 320.
Or an old, if you could get one, an old Red Rock TH 500.
Are they any use?
Yes.
They are?
Yes.
Were they a good shovel back in the day?
Yes.
Like, what made them good?
They were really well built.
Really?
Yeah, they were a really good shovel.
Always thought they were cool looking, boss.
Yeah, they were really good. I don't think they were economically viable for them to make.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know I'd probably go for an old JCB, because that was the sort of go-to for a farmer back in the day, really. And like, if you're bringing it, like, you know, as long as you're not needing to, or well, do you know something? An I'd 414 would probably be as cheap.
Oh, it would be, or even a 412.
No.
Yeah.
Buckrake.
MDE. Johnson. Wiley. I don't know.
Fucking
Whatever I find.
Fold out or non fold out?
Fold out.
I would go with 10 foot money car.
Really?
Aye. Or 10 foot fucking anything.
You wouldn't go fold out?
No. Easier than the shovel. You know.
Well, aye, true, but then it's a bit more awkward
You can have
driving on roads. Now I suppose you're assuming wider. 10 foot's quite wide, like.
Any of the fold out would be, they fold in the 10 foot.
Oh, I thought they folded into about 8 foot.
I don't think so.
Unless you have a big buck rake.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
But you're not going to be going for it, because you're not going to be pushing
If
20 ton loads out of the way.
If to anybody yet, I haven't a fucking clue. I'm talking to my ass at the minute. So, anything else to add to that?
No. I just like the idea of having a fairly classic fleet. Like, you know, there's not one of them tractors really. Like, well, the 6830, you have to map them, but everything else, and the TM190, but everything else there, like the 110, 8340, F140, like, all of them, like, you know, backs on West Banner, like.
Well, true. But any of the modern classic stuff now, it's like, they're, regardless, they're still very strong money for what they are.
Oh, aye, definitely.
Like TMs are 40 grand brand new, and a real clean one is high 30s.
Yeah.
Is it just bucket list tractors is the reason why you've chose them, or is there any particular?
Aye. Like, yeah. Like, I've always said, if I was to go down a tractor, it'd be like an 8894, you know, or maybe like a 9090 or something like that, or an 8090. If I was to go for something smaller, if I was to go up, it'd probably be an F140.
Yeah.
You know, if I was to go for anything bigger, I don't know if you might just about fit an F140 into our sheds. Like, our sheds were built in the 80s when, like, I can't get a TM150 into their sheds, like.
Oh, right. Yes, fair enough.
DJ Walsh landed one day in a 6830 to lift a grubber, and the 6830 wouldn't get into the middle shed in the top yard. I had to go in with a 110, hook on the grubber, pull the grubber forward, so he could then hook onto it. Yeah.
Fuck, there you go.
So that's one of the limitations around here for me, is like, I couldn't really ever have bike equipment. Now I won't anyway, because I'll never get to the size of what that was. I don't, unless I've 200 acres of land magically gifted to me. I could never, like, I don't ever see me ever going and renting ground. Like, it's money that I don't need to be spending. Like, so, you know, if I can use what I have here and rent out the rest of the sheds, you know, to keep the farm sort of full.
Yeah.
You know, I'm happy enough.
Funny, well, Fowler's always been, again, he has always been of the opinion that you're best getting the contractor to do it. So he's of the opinion that basically, if they break, it's their problem.
Correct.
There's no point in spending mad money or earning, or using all the money that you earn to just buy equipment.
It begrudges me paying someone else to do something I can do. That's, like, you know, I will.
But if you, right, what I'm saying is, well, the way he's sort of looking at it is, if you made $5,000 a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you use that $5,000 to throw into like a tractor or something, instead of, you know, you can maybe make your life easier instead of, like, so doing something that will make your life easier on the farm instead of spending. on
Just
machinery.
depends, because that money that you would have,
Like,
if you didn't give it to a contractor, it's more for you, if that makes sense.
well, I don't know. Like,
But say you're giving a contractor, £20,000 a year to do your silage, right?
yeah,
In my head, like, depending on what you buy, like, you know, you could do a bit of that yourself. Now, for yous, because yous are in a big enough way of going, and you just don't, like, it'd be different if your dad had a 1360 John Deere mower that he'd bought
like, don't get me
many
wrong.
moons ago, that you could go out and do the mowing and save a bit of cost that way.
Yeah.
But then you also work full time.
Well,
Your old boy's not going to be arse doing it, and Jared works full time, so
yes.
it
Well,
doesn't suit for yous.
that's true as well. But even at that, so I suppose you've heard, like, you hear horror stories. Like, I know of, if I'm thinking right, heard a story that essentially someone not far away from where I'm at had a new mower, second year out.
Hit a stone and broke the bed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mower wrote off.
Yep.
No, I'm sure that obviously it happens, but that would be the contractor taking the cost, not me.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sure they wouldn't be too happy about it, but like, what can you do? And then the other opinion is, if you've got stock, should you really be running after all the contracting, all the stuff that a contractor could do, make your stock better? You make more money anyway. For us always, I can't mind where.
I think if you're a farmer in this day and age, doing your own grass, you're doing it for the love of it. You're doing it for the love of machinery.
It doesn't make any real sense.
You probably
otherwise.
you probably do save a few pounds. You probably do save money doing it. But then you have to think about it. As you say, it's the time invested that you're out in a field, sitting under a harvester, trying to put a chain back in a pickup reel, you know, or something like that. You're doing this and that, and really, you don't, unless, as you, like, for yous, getting rain's the obvious choice.
Well, to be fair, like, say, I don't know, whenever we get the grass in, hopefully the next time we're recording grass and alls and whole crack, we're talking about it in the What's New section. But, like, if you're away for 2 hours, yes, you're saving money, you're not paying a contractor. But if a cow's calving, or something's not 100%, and them 2 hours you miss something,
and then the next thing the rain comes on,
or yes,
you've grass mowed and a calf and the cow goes down, and you've grassland mowed, and the next thing you know, that tomorrow's going to rain, and you're sitting going, fuck, I can't get the rest of this stuff done.
Or even you have to sacrifice one or the other. So that's that's why we have never went down the route of, I think 20 years ago in the late 70s, early 80s, maybe we'd done it ourselves.
Like, everybody did it themselves back then.
Pretty much,
but then everybody was doing like 20 acres.
Yeah, and it was all like single or double chop.
Double chop,
Like, don't get me wrong, you could probably do it for a lot cheaper, but sure, it'd be no fun talking about buying rotten machinery. You might as well.
It's literally what we do with me.
No, that's literally what you do with yourself.
Oh, we talk about me buying rotten machinery.
Yes, and it makes great content for everybody to hear about.
Yeah, it does.
Like, how else would we know that we could talk for 5 minutes about how your slurry tanker has so many fucking issues? Well, at least we have it to talk
Content.
about.
It's always content.
Well, we move on
to
then.
the questions.
Aye.
I was thinking that. Go on.
Oh, am I doing our responses then? You yours?
Aye, sure, we'll do.
So, Adam McCartney has wrote in.
Who's he?
Don't know.
Never
Is he a
heard of him.
friend of the pod, Michael?
I don't know who it is.
Okay. He's MCC_442_R.
Yes.
What's the fucking 442 about?
Don't know. It's always been that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's always
You must
been-
obviously know him then.
Intermittently.
Yeah. He's saying that, or he's asked, Hector is going to run 3 Honda Civics with spin engines at Race Wars. Discuss. But the main thing is, are they going on Honda?
No, something about Motec, wasn't it?
That was Motec ECUs.
Something like that, Motec with T88 turbos. And NOS.
Were they turboed? With NOS?
With NOS.
That'd be some going yoke, wouldn't it?
It's the biggest load of fucking jargon I've ever heard. Like, it's like, try and make a statement sound really carry without really knowing about car stuff.
Well, Spoon is obviously a big Honda tuner.
Yeah, Honda tuning and all. Yeah. You gonna do all them first then?
Can do.
Go on ahead.
If you want. FH90 Philip has said JF or Tarup.
For a harvester?
I'm assuming so, yeah.
I drew beside a 10X once, and I was so impressed with how the whole thing blew grass. 30-foot rows, no bother. Apart from when we got to some real dry, long stuff and blocked her twice in the one field on the one row. On the outside row, that was kind of shit. But like, for they're a flywheel driven yacht, I think. I was really impressed. I thought it was class. It was really, really good.
So a JF or a Tarup?
Tarup 10X.
Okay.
Do you have any statement?
I have never drew beside a trailed harvester, so I'm just going to be awkward and say JF.
Okay, fair enough.
So Morris Hayden 164 has said 90 series Fiats are overrated. The F series was 10 times the tractor. I don't think you're going to disagree with that.
No. I would rather own a 90 series over an F series. The same way I would rather own an A86 over an A92 Corolla. You know, but end of the day, they're the same engine, give or take. Like, it's an Navigo 5.9.
Yeah.
But you've got far better gearing options. Like Fiats, as we discussed in the last podcast, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 boxes have to stop.
Yeah.
Can't go from like high fifth to medium fifth.
Well, they're like a newer one for a reason, obviously.
Yeah.
Good question. So Eamon McNally 58 has asked 11090 or 7810 Ford.
Obviously a 11090, but a 7810 Ford is up there. Like, if it wasn't a 11090, it probably would be a 7810 Ford.
To be fair, if I was given the opportunity to drive a 7810 Ford or your 11090, having a very limited experience in a 7610, I'd probably pick a 7810 Ford.
You'd have an easier day out, I think, in a 7810, and noise out of a 7810 is class as well. Like, they sound really well.
Yeah. So Conor McGrath 512 has asked plans for Donegal. Are you going to get a cheap car to wreck, or are you taking a Sierra and the EP3?
I'll be taking our own cars.
Yeah. I don't have enough money for tyres, never mind a cheap yacht to wreck.
No, fully just plan on taking up my own car. Like, I want to enjoy my own car.
Dara has written to us and he said, can you shout out Rory Kennedy? He's just after having his first birthday in Oz.
Happy birthday, Rory.
So happy birthday, Rory.
Good man,
in
Rory.
Oz. And I'm sorry, Dara, I don't want to butcher your name.
Yeah, we're not even going to try and butcher that. Like,
my watch just told me it's past my bedtime, so I'm definitely going to butcher it anyway. So Thomas 676 Moore's response is, Masses are shite. You're shite.
I'm with Thomas in this one.
You're shite too. Fuck off with your coke can, Michael. I'll just not answer the phone next time you're looking some help.
You weren't able to help me anyway.
I think I give you advice to stop it running out the back door.
Oh, I ran out the back door later again. Even with that advice, because it's run out the back door.
That's because I left, lad.
And I was like, oh, I'll try Connor's trick. Didn't work, and I was like, bastard.
Was there more in the tanker at that stage? Because she took a full load.
Oh, I was full.
Oh, I wasn't there, lad.
I wasn't going to drain it and do it again. Like.
Philip Morrow. Just a wee quick thing. So, Philip Morrow has done a response. but I also, the time I put up the quick questions, wrote a question then.
Oh, aye.
Yes, so we did get a couple of questions in, and essentially we did record the answers, but it fucked up on us.
Aye, the audio deleted itself.
So we couldn't actually put that in. So
that.
We did actually answer them, and
that's
then
right. The audio went silent. The audio went quiet.
Aye, it was just fucking nightmare.
Hope it doesn't happen with this one.
Hopefully not. But Philip was said, well, lads, favourite part about grass season and Port Sundays. Grass season, for me, the smell after about 3 loads of silage, the novelty now at this stage wears off, but you're alright to do it for a full day.
I love just seeing stuff about the country.
There's a buzz about the yard that day.
Yeah.
It's just madness.
Yeah.
And it's like a day where, bar milking the cows, I'm just stuck on a tractor all day. But I'm happy enough about, like. Favourite part about Port Sundays?
A real good Port Sunday is when it's not completely rammed, but there is a big crowd. So there's a big enough crowd that you're in traffic, but you're not sitting for hours. Like, it might take you a wee minutes to get onto the roundabout, and you could be sitting queuing for a while, but you're not. Pardon me, you're not sitting queuing for like an hour and a half, in the one spot. And it's a night where there's no real badness, but there's a lot of limiter bashing, a lot of people doing anti-lag, stuff like that.
Place. A
real good buzz, but nobody's being cunts.
No.
So there's no unnecessary wrecking, so the police aren't called. But there's a lot of noise and a lot of... Yeah, that's a real good Port Sunday night.
What is my favourite part of it?
Let me bashing down the prom.
I can't believe I'm actually having to think about this, but no, that is completely correct, Michael.
The best bit is whenever you do get a crowd sitting outside the lights outside Morelli's, and like, I remember there's one year me and you were down, and it's like 2020 or 2021, and like literally everyone was going like rev it outside Morelli's, and we were just going by flat on the limiter. Like, you don't see as much of that now.
No, you
people tend to stand at the end of the prom now, and I think they're hoping that people are now going to like try and slide that bottom corner, and that's like
they're trying to, unfortunately, foot slip the clutch, and unfortunately the back end may have
having the balls to do that. Is that
true.
all the questions in your end?
That's all the questions, yep.
So John Coughlin wrote this: New Holland 8360 are a modern classic, just an option, but do you think anything around that generation will be like the next 11090? Oh aye, 6290. 6290 Massey is probably as close to the next 11090. Same as a TM 155 or a 140. John Deere 6810's going the same way.
What do you mean?
That, like that era, like late 90s, early 2000s.
In
like,
what way?
Iconic. I would have said the big three, the 6810, TM 140 and the 6290 are probably all...
The 6810 you're talking about?
Yeah, John Deere.
I'd have said 6910.
Or 6910. I like the 6810 more because the contractor used to have one around here. 30 diesel away.
Yeah. For me, 8360, 6290, 8340 definitely there.
Yeah.
The Winter Series, not popular enough, I thought, to ever reach real iconic status.
You don't see enough of them about, but I think F1...
Like, it's like 8560s are not iconic versus an 8360.
Yeah, I would say F130s and F140s are there, but like F100s, F110, F120...
Well, no, I'm not saying again the F-Series. But it's the fact I didn't even know... They're not 6290 or...
Until recently
I didn't know what an F-Series was.
Yeah,
you know,
they're not 6290 or 8340 or 8360 level. And as you're saying, the 8360 is more of a cult tractor than an 8560 or an 8260.
Or no, it's more... There wasn't as many 8560s about, I don't think, as 8360s.
Yeah, 8360 was like kind of what your...
Or 8360s, I would say. Even... Let me think. 6910 definitely John Deere. Anything else really?
No.
What do you think? Here's a bit of a thing. What would you say tractor wise now in 20 years will be kind of iconic?
Oh fuck, good question. And the answer is to that I nearly don't know, because I think they're all washing machines nowadays.
So I would say, if you even would say 10 years ago, so I would say Massey wise 6480,
100%.
New Holland wise
T6080s.
6080s, yes.
6080s. John Deere be 6830, 6930.
I said 1630, but more so 7530.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to look more to 7530, you're going to look at 6930. They're the wee bit bigger, but they're cool as fuck. Hard to beat a 7530 sunroof up on big ass wheels on like a big 20-ton trailer. Let me think. What else?
I don't know. Like maybe, see,
like a 70-50 is more iconic than a 60-80.
A 70-50 or 70-60 is cool, alright, yeah.
But
I would again say the same reason why I would say like T6080 or 6480. They're more middle of the road, more desirable, I think, for the normal person.
True.
You know, a 70-50 is a big tractor. A 75-30 is a big tractor.
A 70-50 wouldn't be...
They're 240 horsepower.
Any different really now than a T7200?
Are the T70-50s not a long wheelbase?
Possibly.
I think they're maybe a longer wheelbase. Could be talking shite.
I'm not entirely sure. Like, say now, I would say I'd say a 7719S is going to be, because they're literally just a Fendt gearbox with Voltra engine and Massey back end or whatever.
I could see something like a 210 being a good tractor, or a Case 150 or 155, same sort of size. You know, I could see them being the new, or like a 6155R Deere.
Or 6R145.
Aye.
Or 145, would I say?
Something like that, I would imagine. Kind of that middle of the road, saying middle of the road, 200 horsepower, but a tractor big enough to pull most things around the yard. And most big things are getting bigger. Like, you know, the average farmer maybe that was buying an 8-ton trailer is now buying maybe a 12 or 14-ton trailer.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so
we went from 1,300 gallon Star to 2,000 NC.
And your next buy probably be a 2,500. If you do go again.
Probably it'll be a tandem, not a big single axle.
So, you know.
But like a tandem 2,000.
Oh, really?
Wouldn't go any heavier, yeah.
Surprised at
that. Whenever you've sat in with somebody who's driving with a tandem axle tanker, it's so much easier to sit in. I wouldn't go back to a big single, I would go to a tandem.
Fair enough. Lucas Black, friend with the best car knowledge apart from Connor. Well,
me, it's saying I've got good car knowledge.
Apparently so.
Thank you very much. I didn't fucking see that coming.
Well, who am I going to go for technical help? It's probably Ali.
To be honest, in our friend group, you kind of nearly have a one-stop shop.
Stevie does paint, Crass sells cars, Jack knows the more prestige stuff,
so
Killian's a mechanic.
Johnny will sell it to you, Stevie will fix it for you.
Paint it?
Or
Killian will fix it.
Killian will fix it for you.
Jack will prep it up and a wee bit.
Jack will change the bolts on it to fancy looking ones.
Jack will read it up and fucking tell you everything about it and advise you what you should do to better power and all that there, like.
Aye.
Dan Steezy, are you boys going to come up for any of the Drift Games invitationals? That was at the last one.
Hopefully in the future, if the way things are going and if all goes to plan, I might be able to do things, but again, I'll not be taking the piss out of it.
I would still like to have some built. Now, whether I build it or whether someone does it for us on our behalf, but I'd love to have something built, like the NLSD car for that.
Be cool.
But keep dreaming, Michael, for now anyway.
Be cool.
I know I'm getting tired myself. Gary Kerrigan.
It is 11:45, and we started recording this at just after 9.
Holy fuck. Gary Kerrigan. What came first, chicken or the egg? Not getting into it. But it was definitely the egg. Or maybe it's the chicken. I don't know.
Probably the egg.
Tom Hamilton won. Would you rather a K swapped EG9 or a Glanza swap Starlet? That's a very good question.
Say that again.
Would you rather a K swapped EG9, it's like Reese's Civic, or a Glanza swap Starlet?
K swapped.
I'd go Glanza.
Why is that?
I'll turbo.
But like VTEC.
I know. I have a real soft spot for Glanzas. Real soft spot for
like
Glanzas.
Both deadly. Like
you wouldn't say no to either of them.
No.
Jamie Lottie, you boys ever do a section rating on followers' cars? That's been asked a few times. That's something you'd have to sit down and plan.
Well, put it this way, right? So say if 10 people sent in cars for us to judge.
I was getting time to go through everything and get it all compiled together.
It's that, and
I feel like if we asked, no one would send stuff in, even though people do ask. But
there's that too. But it's another thing of, if somebody's put their blood, sweat and tears into something and you're not that big a fan of it,
yeah,
or if it's not to your taste or whatever, you don't want to be a dick.
Yeah, you don't really want to put people off from listening to us and going, them fucking boys think they're better than us, like, because he says he'd prefer Vemans or whatever over whatever.
Pretty much.
Callum 7740. Favourite car from the late 90s / early 2000s car scene, and why?
Favourite car? Well, technically I own that, but if I was going again,
I think it's probably thinking the generation before yours. I know yours is 01 technically onwards, but I'm going to say probably late 90s.
Probably S15.
I was going to say a Saxo VTS.
Oh right. Oh, we're going different again. Something realistic then.
No, an S15's an absolutely credible answer. In that case, it's just when I think back to that time of, I suppose, car culture, like an S15, yeah, an S15 wouldn't come into my head. Like an S15 is what I would say now.
Yes.
Back then, it would have been Saxos and 106s and 306s and stuff.
To be fair, back then, if we're going Max per era, Corsa B.
Oh yeah,
Combat 2 body kit. Combat 2 body kit.
Deadly.
With a big fucking shopping trolley wing on her.
Unreal.
And everything fiberglass to fuck.
Hey.
Who needs rear lights when you've got TVs that can display rear lights?
Do you know what? But that was modifying and that was show cars. They were show cars. That was true show builds, like.
Yeah, to be fair. Well, do you know something? Yeah.
I think, to be honest, if someone... I've talked, but the thing is, I'm not going to do it either. I've talked about this a few times, and I don't... And the thing is, I won't do it myself either, because I don't want to spend the money on it. But, like, car audio... Like, no way cars used to have... Like, people used to build, like, cars that were for, like...
I sensed the yawn coming on there, boss.
Oh fuck! Tired tonight. People.
I had only like 4 hours sleep last night because I was on the beer. And I had the milk this morning, and I haven't had a nap or anything today.
Oh, fuck, you are doing well.
Yes, and you're more tired than I am.
Yeah.
Come on, get your shit together, Michael. Look at him brighten up.
In-car electronics.
One of the first thing I done to the Civic was put a radio into it.
And that's something you do that I've kind of, as time has went on, started to value a lot.
Because I'll tell you why, it's nice to jump into a car and be able to, one, obviously listen to your own music.
Yeah.
But obviously nowadays we all have our own smartphones and that.
Yeah.
See, jumping into a car and just sticking on Apple CarPlay, putting in wherever you need to go to on your Android phone or your Apple phone, and it just appear on the screen. I'm
not that far into the technology, but I did take the good Sony radio that I had in the Sierra out of it and put it into the 110, and it's the best thing I ever done for magnetic mount up now as well. I just sit, Spotify's on this side, and I just literally go through, and it just plays. And the old radio that was in it used to knock itself off and would reset itself and all. What I have now, it's a far better job.
Like, I understand obviously people would first of all maybe buy cheap coilovers or wheels or something like that. See a good fucking radio.
Oh, it makes a difference.
And they're overpriced as fuck for what they are. You know, they really are a dear old bastard thing to buy. Like, I spent 340 quid on the one in the Civic.
Oh, fuck.
And I spent £320 on the one in the Golf.
But hey, you spend most of your time inside the car.
Well, put it this way, right?
Like, you
know, like, yes. Well, whenever I bought the Civic, she had a radio on her that took an aux lead.
Sure, no phones nowadays have aux leads, like.
That was the problem. At the time, the phone didn't actually have an aux lead. So
whenever I got my
I literally had the fucking phone playing the music out of the phone speaker.
Whenever I got my Huawei, like before this one, before the Samsung, like, and we're talking about 4 years ago or 5 years ago, like, even then, that's when they were trying to rule out the aux leads, and I got the P30 Pro at the time because it had an aux lead.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, like, that's why I was desperate to keep the aux lead. Moving on to the big old skids and one-wheel pills then.
Yes.
I have loads. If you don't have any, it's fine. I have so many. Because we didn't really have any in the last podcast, so I pulled them all.
To be fair,
through.
actually, I do have some. One, but it's still some.
Well, I'll go first then. So Brian Miller, listener.
Fuck you. That was my only one.
Was it the one? No, it was a different one. Mine's the one on the video he put up of the 7810, the front and rear motor.
That is my only one.
All right, fuck. I thought you were going to say him.
You ruined it for me.
I thought you were going to say him commenting under one of our. Was it the?
Yes, I also noticed that too.
Yeah.
Yes. No.
A summer I'd love to get up and see is, does he work with Tractor Cab Specialists, or what's the crack with
I
that?
have no idea. I was going to ask you.
All the 10 series.
Does Brian work with Tractor Cab Specialists?
Brian, give me a shout. I wanna go up and see them machines in action.
So
like.
my big old skid, or the only big old skid that I have, is what you're after saying. And I also wrote on my notes saying, as cool as penguin piss.
Fucking unreal, hey. Adam McCartney sent me a video there. It didn't look like it was, I don't know where it was, whether it was in Holland or whether it was in Germany or something like that there, but it looked like the baler had rolled off and snapped off the tractor. But the video was just the PTO and the baler was still going, the PTO and the tractor was still going, and I was like, Bluetooth PTO.
Deadly.
I don't understand how it was doing it, how it managed to keep the inertia going to constantly run the PTO. Like, literally, you just watch the shaft, literally like half a shaft because it snapped. Just
but if something snapped and if something broke in the baler and it was just a bearing going around with no pressure on it, you could imagine that it would spin for 30-40 seconds after it, possibly.
Maybe, but not whenever you've got like the flinging of the shaft going.
And
it wasn't lowering in speed either. A bearing will slow down when it's not under load.
But if well greased, it'll take a while.
Well. Okay,
I'm just
fair.
thinking of absolute possibilities here.
Ben sent me a video, and then Adam also sent me the same video, and Connor Kelly, and he says you should talk about these of the boy, like, you don't talk about this enough. There's a video of a fella, must be in there, one of them countries, in a John Deere tractor. He does a rollback and then just like wheelies the tractor, like right back, and then starts like driving her forward. Them boys are fucking nuts. Do you see some of the stuff they do? I mean, Donkey 262 does some questionable videos on them boys as well, like, but like some of the shit them boys do, nearly as bad as your man the Zetter. You seen the video of that as well. Evenflow does a take of it as well. Your man's going down the hill and like a Zetter, he seems to be doing like some sort of like obstacle course in a tractor, like kind of like a time attack, and he comes down a hill and he comes down and the back goes sideways and he fucking like rolls her down the hill. It's like a 14245 Zetter or something. Aye, sad to see. Like, another thing I seen recently, Silage in the Alps,
right?
Well, it's Switzerland, France, Italy, I have no idea. It's like a self-propelled forage wagon, but what was raking in front was like an I think it was like Is there a tractor with a loader or a telehandler, and basically they're going around the field, and he has some hydraulic. It looks like a merger.
Okay.
And basically she kicks all the grass into one big row, and then coming behind it then is like a self-propelled forage or not forage harvest, like a silage wagon. And I thought this. Then the next thing, like you can see all the hills and stuff. And then the next thing, then that was one video, and then it happened to come up again, another video, and that loader, that self-propelled forage wagon comes and tips in the shed, and your man pushes the grass away with a forklift. Because it's like a proper polished concrete floor.
Yeah.
And it's a forklift with like a pallet put on it, or like a board put across the front of it. And what he does is he pushes the silage. Whether there's zero grazing or what, I don't know, but he pushes the silage in, and then this grab comes along and grabs all the silage and lifts it and takes it away.
Did Donkey not do a video with that with Grassman?
I
And he explained about the fact that the grab puts it in like a store, and then it's near like haylage.
Yeah, but I don't know how they compact it. I don't know why he was doing that, or whether he was feeding it directly or what it was, but yeah, it's like a forklift just pushes it in. It was really interesting. I see, it must be interesting on board you to read on. Bumped into a listener at the tractor pole, a lad called Tiernan, didn't get a second name. I was standing there videoing, and he came up to me and he's like, you from the podcast? And I was like, yeah, because I had the hoodie on. And he's like, he's like, I listen. I was like, fair play, lad. So I was chatting to him for a while. So
I basically had a listener come up to me in the bar last night, and they were like, he was like, you from Limit Slip podcast? And I was like, I am, surely. I wasn't wearing a hoodie or whatever last night, but I suppose the face may be recognisable. And Sean McGonigal.
Yep.
And he said he was chatting to you at the tractor pull and that.
Was indeed. He was at Owen Smith's and all that day as well, whenever I was helping out trying to be pit crew.
But I know I was saying he ran about with Frosty and that, and showed me a photo of his staff. She's class. I know it was just really nice to meet a listener, to be honest.
I spent a good bit of the tractor pulling with him actually as well. Like,
yeah,
he's a nice lad.
You definitely at times you do get caught off guard, to be fair to you.
Aye, sometimes you see people like looking at you kind of half funny and like kind of going, is that him? And then they come up to you and it's like, well lad, and then you don't want to just turn around and go, do you listen to the podcast? Because they might go, what podcast? And then you'd be a real fucking knob, like. But you know, you can kind of, sometimes you do see people kind of staring at you and kind of going, and like kind of like look on us have to go, Jink, that's him. I noticed that, I was telling you at the time, like excuse me, I noticed the winter fair.
Okay.
Like
right.
a couple of times walking, probably just from the TikToks. Walking, mainly groups of young ones. There was two groups in particular, and I remember them like walking past, and like I remember like one of them kind of sort of staring, and I was like, well, here's a group. There's 5 of us, so I'm going to keep going unless someone comes up to me. So, James Duffin, he goes, didn't know you'd started your own company. Apparently, there's a stand or a brand at the Balmoral Show called Scully. Don't know who it is, what it is. Looks
Scully?
like yeah.
If I'm thinking right, they do bale handle equipment.
Oh really?
So Scully, you are funny enough. So they're an engineering company, if I can mind right, from Kerry.
Okay.
They were in the innovation centre in the Ploughing the last time I was at it.
Okay.
Basically, they have a elephant trunk.
Oh, do they do the elephant nose?
Yeah. So Scully thing. So yeah.
James's logic stacks up then.
I'll tell you one thing though, they've fucking more brains than you have.
Tell you another thing, speaking of James Duffin, sponsor shout out.
Yes.
Engine table. Even though I write at the top of my ideas here every week, remember, sponsor shout out. I always forget. Yes, cutaway section. James done the engine table for us. He's doing the one for my house at the minute as well. So yeah, basically can get you whatever you want. If you've blown up your SR20, because you know SR20s blow up, get James, turn your pistons that you haven't melted into nice legs for your table stand, and he'll make one up for you, nice, including lights. Thank you, James, for sponsoring the pod.
Very. Thank you very much.
Chatting to James Heaney the other day, we were recapping back to 2020. I know COVID was a shit time for a lot of people, but see, like that week that I spent up around like Ballymena, that was one of the best weeks of my life.
Oh,
just
really?
drawing grass for a full week straight between James Heaney's cousin and then the contractor or the farmer James worked for.
Yeah.
So that was back when like everyone had a bit more time. So I was up, like we did like through the night shifts and all of them, drawing grass.
Deadly.
It was class. It's the 110 on the Fraser, like, because William Brown as well was sending across a few videos as well, and he'd a win clips of like the fate and everything as well. And James wrote to me and was like, "Look here, I've been listening to you. It's good to see everything's going well. Fair play." And I was like, "Here, any word of getting the band back together again?" And he was like, "No, Ian and Johnny." Ian gets contractors in now and Johnny does bales.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, right, that's a shame. But, that was such a good time. It was so chilled. The weather was unreal. Like, that was back when the weather was absolutely class. And, like, you're supposed to social distance and also, like, we were all, like, eating outside around the tractors and stuff like that there, like, rather than sitting in the house and stuff like that. And it was, because there was just no pressure from anything else at the time, it was a really, really good time. And to be honest, if you gave me a time machine and said, like, you know, you're allowed to go back to 10 moments in your life, like that would probably be one of them. Okay. Genuinely, that was such a good time. Like, it was just such good crack. Just a real good group of lads between James, Willie Brown, Orange Smurl and all them boys. It was good crack, like. Stephen Hafferty sent me one the other day saying, not a morning person at all, apart from drift days, and it's like a person that says like me at 4 a.m.
He also sent that to me too.
They send that to you as well.
That's very good, yes.
The guards.
Oh, you got
Fuck me. Jesus fucking Christ.
As Michael would say, unbelievable.
Unbelievable how they... And you know what? To make matters worse, they then kept trying to put their foot on it. So people were like, no, you're wrong. Your logic isn't true. So to recap, basically they were saying a stretch tyre is an 18-inch tyre and a 20-inch wheel.
Doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make sense. I don't know about you, but you can't put a 6-inch shite through a 4-inch hole, like.
Well, you could push it through, but
you'd be doing a lot of stomping down the drain.
That's what your tanker does. It pushes.
I know, but
you're like,
you know
fucking leave me alone.
You know what I mean? Like, it's the fact they tried to double down. The bit that gets me, I put up the video on that because I was like, right, well, someone's got to be the advocate here, and I seen the cheap likes, so I went, okay, I'm going to put this up.
You but needed like, to video yourself again.
Huh?
You needed to video yourself
the
again.
Reality is, right, like, these are the same people that are going to stop you at like Donegal or at the port or whatever, and they're going to tell you there's something wrong with your car. And that's what happened to me in the 207. Is your policewoman tried to argue with me that my hydraulic suspension was illegal and my car was dangerous because it was in hydraulics. Now, it was dangerous for many other reasons, but not hydraulics.
Hydraulics was the only legal thing about it.
Hydraulics was the only legal thing about it at the time. But like, you know, like...
And again, I did warn you not to
yeah,
fucking
I know,
go
we've rehashed this in probably nearly every podcast, but like, it's police like that think they know. It was like the time Dan Bentley, who's a guy from England who I knew back in the day, he had a Polo
6R.
Yeah.
And
the policeman said he was an adjustable coilovers. I know cars, I know how these work. The cars and bags. He was bagged, wasn't he, or was he in Hydros?
He was bagged, but it's the fact that whenever he seen the Blues and Twos come on, he did raise it up a bit, and then the police officer went on and on. But he took it to court, and they won it. Because
the policeman tried to say it was like self-adjusting coilovers. I was like, unless maybe you can get a set of KWs or something that does that, but I'm pretty sure
I've never
standard on them whole coilovers not going to do that. And then following on with that, John McLaren then, who used to go and do a bit of drifting with back in the day. You ever seen John's S15?
Yes.
It's fucking spicy as hell.
It's lovely.
It's class. He then sent me a voice note and was like, here, wait to hear this first story. He says he failed, and he failed, like, it was like a 235/45 19 on a 9. So not even stretched. He failed at the test centre, and the MOT man told him, oh, see, you can't stretch tyres because if the tyres are stretched, you hit the brakes, but the tyres, they keep spinning. And it's really dangerous and could cause an accident. So you hit the brakes, but apparently the tires keep spinning on the wheel.
Your man that was the MOT tester probably needs to go to BMW, because BMW needs to send out cars with factory stretch tires.
Drifters literally all run stretch.
No, but like from factory.
Oh, seriously?
So if you go and order a new BM, most BMs now come in the rear wheels with a wee bit of stretch on them.
Really?
Which realistically a 235 and a 9 is the same as a 225 and an 8.
So no stretch.
Very minimal.
I mean, I'm not really into stretch as much as I was anymore, but I'm running a 195 and an 8.5, and I wouldn't say there's any real particular stretch. Not compared to the 205 and a 10.
That is 195 and 8.5 is more than I ever ran.
That's why I'm running Sierra, and it doesn't really look stretched at all. It's not bait anyway.
It's
not compared to what we used to do.
You used to put 195 and like a 9.5.
185 and an 8.5. But a 35 profile, so it was literally a rubber band. Yeah, sketchy. Andrew Muldrew sent me a video then of, it was basically Night Raid, and it was like when guys wash their cars, and it's like them bringing out all the different, and I do this too, like all the different stuff, like if your center's pre-cleaner, you've got your snow foam, your different types of shampoo, polish, wax, whatever, and it's like versus guys washing themselves, and it's like deadly 8 in 1 hair, body, fucking conditioner, body wash, everything at the one go, and it's like class.
Shampoo, conditioner,
Yeah.
unreal.
So, and then finally, William Muir, I got chatting to him on TikTok there. So he started following us. I talked about him in a previous episode.
Okay.
He's a Scottish lad. Whether he works or he's part of a group, they all have old Case tractors.
Okay, yeah.
And a class 682 forage harvester, and it's all Case tractors with Fraser trailers. They have like a 5150 in the pit.
Oh, yes. You sent me a photo or
Yeah,
something
I
of that.
did.
Yes.
So I wrote to him and goes, here, I was like, we talked about you like maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago. He was like, no, he goes, I must check it out. He goes, because I've seen your TikToks before. And he's like, I was thinking, geez, there's a podcast I could actually get on. And so a real nice lad. I must go back and see what he said to me since, but I was chatting away to him for a while there. So the stuff he puts up is absolutely class. Like 1056, 956 cases drawn, like 13-ton Fraser trailers. Like
nice.
it's old school as fuck fleet. Like it's unreal, unbelievable, as Michael would say. But hey, what time is it now?
12:10.
It's 2:29 on the recording thing. Now there's a lot of editing to do, but it's 12:20, and I have to get up stupidly early because
I started this podcast and I thought that Tin Monster would leave me living, and
I'm yawning a lot in this one.
We're both knackered.
Yeah.
Guys, if you've got to this stage of the podcast, fair fucks to you.
I'm surprised we've even got to the stage at this point, Connor.
Because we have barely got to the stage of the podcast ourselves, and we're the ones talking.
Must be really bad listening when you can hear us yawning. Must be really bad listening.
Just know that it's just been a hectic week.
It's always hectic with us.
Yes,
We're two men that probably shouldn't be doing a podcast because we've no fucking time to do it.
We really don't have any time. Well, anyway, but if you got to a stage, if you're on YouTube, please leave a comment. We do view them all. We do view them all.
Connor normally sends me a message going, "Did you see what such and such wrote?" And I go, "No, but you've just told me, so okay."
Yes, very true. Michael runs all the social media, so if you're ever
TikTok, Instagram would be I'd be mainly. If you write to me, you're most likely going to get me on TikTok or Instagram.
So anyway, we're at Limited Slip Differences on all social media. I'm butchered. That's beyond belief.
On absolutely everything. Limited Slip Differences on absolutely everything. YouTube, Facebook,
please,
TikTok and Instagram.
Appreciate a like, a subscribe,
whatever,
and follow TikTok or on any of them if you don't mind. And
what's your own socials, Connor?
Connor.McGow. Never use them.
I don't really use my own socials much anymore since trying to push the page. But
to be fair, the only thing you'll see different is a story that I've shared of Gemma's because I'm included in it, or basically the podcast new episode. like I looked, and the only stories I put up this last while are taking the dog out. No, sorry, and about 75% what Gemma has taken, and I'm just resharing it because I've been told, and I didn't even realise she put a story up of it on the podcast. Not that anybody cares nor needs to hear that, but why not?
I'm at Michael Scott _ and everything.
And you're more active.
I probably would be. Right, I'm gonna call it before I fall asleep in this chair. So
it's actually terrible.
See you later, folks. Best luck.
Don't fall asleep on the road.
Aye.